The 2000th NASCAR Winston Cup season is down to its final 7 races, and today the series visits a facility more than a half-century old, Martinsville Speedway in Virginia.
To the casual motorsports enthusiast, points leader Bobby Labonte's season stats may not seem like much. After all, he hasn't won the most races, led the most laps, or even earned the most money. All he has done is start 27 straight races without failing to finish once. And since April 30th, spanning some 22 consecutive weeks, his name and no other has sat atop the standings. Impressed? Yeah, I thought so. I'll bet this team gets tired of people telling them what they haven't done. Bobby Labonte had never run well on road courses until this year, and he recorded top 5 finishes on both. Bobby had never started a backup car in the back of the field and pulled off a win until this year at Darlington. And Bobby had never won or recorded a top 5 finish at Martinsville until, oh yeah, that's today. Now, history tells us that true championship teams feed off adversity and draw strength from challenge, which may explain why the late Alan Kulwicki's favorite quote came from legendary football coach Vince Lombardi, who said, "Obstacles are what you see when you take your eyes off your goals." Today, like Lombardi's, like Kulwicki's, Bobby Labonte's team must have one heartbeat, one focus, one goal, which is one championship.
The Kulwicki comeback of '92 was a modern-day motorsports miracle. Appropriately, with 7 races left this season, 3 drivers dream of duplicating Allen's charge to number 1. Kulwicki rallied from 4th place, 278 points back, with 6 races to go.
Alan Kulwicki is coming off of corner number 4, knowing that he's winning the championship. There's the checkered flag for Alan. He's the champion for '92.
Visions of the 2000 Winston Cup are fading for 3 contenders, but the cheers for the '92 champion still echo in their mind. There is time, there is hope, there is history, but for these 3 men, their mission at Martinsville is clear: win, then do the math. Dale Earnhardt got a good start on Friday. He starts 12th, his best starting position here since April of '96. His last win here, September of '95. On this flat track, Dale Jarrett has a huge mountain to climb. He has never won here, and today he starts 31st at a track where all 93 Winston Cup races have been won from a top 25 starting spot. Jeff Burton is a native of Virginia. He won this race 3 years ago. He's 4th in points, 3rd on the grid, and 2nd here in the spring. That's good, but right now, it might not be good enough.
The paperclip-shaped Martinsville Speedway with its tight turns goes all the way back to NASCAR's rough and tumble beginnings. Passing here comes at a premium, and sometimes you have to give the guy in front of you a friendly little nudge just to let him know you want to get by. This track is a throwback, and sometimes when a car is finished here, you're better off just to throw it away. Something else they'll throw away after today's race, the brake pads, because they really get on the brakes hard here at the Martinsville Speedway. Because believe it or not, in order to go faster, you have to slow down. But the key is saving the brakes until the end, so you can go racing in the final 100 laps. Another area of concern is the rear end gear, because it really gets abused as they constantly get on and off the gas. That also makes it tough on the engines, as they turn them as much as 9,200 RPM, but all the way down to 4,500. 500 laps, 1,000 cycles through the power band. So many of these crews have their fingers crossed that their engines will last.
After 27 events, only 268 points separate the top 4. Rudd and Stewart are tied for 5th. 3 of the bottom 4 are separated by 39 points or less. Now, Bobby Labonte can clinch the title by finishing 6th or better in the final 7 races. He reached the 4,000-point mark after Dover. The battle among the top 4 is closer than last year, and Alan Kulwicki proved 8 years ago that it's not over until the championship is clinched. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome once again to Martinsville, where we have been covering NASCAR Winston Cup racing since 1981. Down through the years, many times, not necessarily the fastest car won the race, and that was true in the spring, Ned.
Yes, it was. Mark Martin came out the winner, and he admitted after the race that he didn't have the fastest race car, but some good pit strategy put him up front, didn't pit during the last caution when others did, stayed out there just hoping to get a top 5, and he won the race. So it just proved that pit strategy and track position are very important, and it will be here again today.
Something else that's going to be important is getting off the corner. Watching these cars practice Friday and Saturday, I'm so impressed with the amount of horsepower that the engine builders have in these race cars today. But The crew's job is to try to get that horsepower glued to the racetrack. If they can, they get off the corner and get position on someone. They just might win the race.
Today's entire 43-car field is separated by just a quarter of a second. A new track record was established in qualifying, and there have been 6 different winners in the last 6 races here. All that means it should be an exciting afternoon of racing, as ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing present the NAPA Autocare 500 live from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia.
In a race car like mine, the oil tank is right behind the seat. When the oil gets hot, you know about it. In California, the oil temp gauge was pegged at 340 degrees. Normal's around 220. Heat's coming off the oil tank behind the seat, burning your back. Man, you wonder if you're even gonna make it to the finish. But Mobil 1 never gave up. Other oils, they might have cooked. Instead, what got cooked was me. I love winning, but doing it this way, man, I tell you, like my crew chief said on the radio, we owe this one to Mobil 1.
Well, the wait is almost over. The command to get this race underway is about to be given.
And here they are now.
On behalf of the over 10,000 NAPA Autocare centers in the United States, gentlemen, start your engines.
Drivers now strapped in their cars alone, getting set for 500 laps of competition here at Martinsville in the NAPA Autocare 500, being brought to you by Mobil 1. Nothing outperforms Mobil 1. By Conseco. And by brand name tires, oil changes, and more at your neighborhood Walmart Tire and Lube Express. Well, Martinsville Speedway, the oldest facility on which NASCAR competes, is just a little over a half mile. The front stretch and the back stretch are 800 feet. The banking in the corners is 12 degrees. It's often described as a paperclip-shaped racetrack, and that's exactly what it looks like from our aerial view. Now let's take a look at the Walmart EverStart grid. Tony Stewart has his 4th career pole position in the Home Depot Pontiac, and Rusty Wallace will start alongside in row number 1. Row number 2, Jeff Burton from South Boston, Virginia, and alongside his brother Ward. In row number 3, Jeff Gordon in car number 24, the DuPont Automotive Chevrolet. Kenny Wallace will start alongside. Kenny started on the outside of row number 1 here in the spring. In the 4th row, it's Bobby Hamilton in the Kodak Film Chevy and Mike Skinner in the Lowe's Chevrolet. In row number 5, Brett Bodine from Shimon, New York in the Ralph's Supermarket Ford, and Steve Park in the Pennzoil Chevy. The 6th row, Ricky Rudd, another driver from Virginia, and Dale Earnhardt looking for his 8th NASCAR Winston Cup championship. In the 7th row will be Jerry Nadeau in the MichaelHolligan.com Chevrolet, and the current points leader in the series, Bobby Labonte from Corpus Christi, Texas.
Back in row 8 on the inside is Ted Musgrave. On the outside, a lot of optimism for Robert Presley today. In row 9, Wally Dallenbach. And alongside Darrell Waltrip's last final race at the Martinsville Speedway. In row 10, Rick Mast. On the inside, Bill Elliott on the outside. In row 11 this afternoon, Dave Blaney and Casey Atwood, his 2nd race for Ray Evernham. Row 12, Mark Martin and Joe Nemechek. Track row 13, Jimmy Spencer and Mike Bliss.
Row 14, we find Kyle Petty and John Andretti. Row 15, Hutch Strickland and Stacy Compton. The 16th row is made up of Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Row 17, Johnny Benson and Sterling Marlin. Row 18, Jeremy Mayfield and the final driver to get in on speed, Ricky Craven. The next 7 drivers all got in on provisionals, Matt Kinson and Terry Labonte in row 19. Row 20, Ken Schrader and Kurt Busch. Row 21, Kevin LePage and Michael Waltrip. And starting in 43rd will be Elliott Sadler in the Wood Brothers car.
The Wood Brothers starting their 1,000th NASCAR Winston Cup race here today. 5 went home. Rich Bickle was the second fastest after the practice period before qualifying, but he missed the show. So did Steve Grissom, Scott Pruitt, Dave Marcus, and Carl Long.
On boards, Dale Jarrett, the Ford Quality Care on board. He starts 31st today. Mark Martin, the Valvoline onboard camera, back in 23rd position. Rick Mast, the Conseco on board. He starts 19th. Bobby Labonte has our Circuit City on board as he goes for that first NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. He starts 14th. Ricky Rudd has the Rebestos on board camera. We'll have a great brake camera today on board with Ricky Rudd. Steve Park, the Napa Chevrolet. He starts outside the 5th row today. Mike Skinner, the Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse Chevrolet. He starts 8th. Ward Burton has the Husqvarna Caterpillar Pontiac outside row 2. We'll be right along with Ward today. And on the outside of the front row, the Miller Lite Ford of Rusty Wallace.
263 miles of competition. That's 500 laps. The purse exceeds $2 million. Pit window between laps 145 and 160. Jeff Gordon set the race record this race in 1996 at a little over 82 miles an hour. It's a beautiful fall day here in Martinsville, Virginia. Warm temperatures, nice breeze, occasional sunshine, and we are set to go racing at Martinsville in the NAPA Autocare 500, the 28th race of the 2000 Winston Cup season. Tony Stewart and Rusty Wallace are in the front row. And the race is on. Well, by about a half a car length, it was Tony Stewart that led lap number 1. That's the 12th race that he has led in the 2000 season. But Rusty Wallace is staying right alongside him. And now at the end of the backstretch, Rusty will go into the lead as Ward Burton challenges Tony for second.
Boy, Rusty just drove it on down into the corner and took over that position, so he'll lead the next lap.
It all started on turn 2. Rusty Wallace, I talked about getting a bite, getting grip off the corner. He was terrific off that second corner and got momentum and was able to pass Tony Stewart on the outside.
Momentary battle between the Burton brothers there for third, but Ward now has that spot. Jeff back and forth. And in 5th position is the 55 car of Kenny Wallace. Dale Earnhardt banging on the car that he owns, the number 1 car driven by Steve Park.
Here's the 31 car of Mike Skinner on the inside of Jeff Gordon, car number 24, and Skinner makes the pass.
Earnhardt is just chomping at the bit. I want by, guys. Please quit running side by side. Give me a chance. But Bobby Hamilton not about to give up his shot at trying to get by Steve Park.
Brett Bodine in that red number 11 car there reaches a milestone today. He's starting his 400th NASCAR Winston Cup race, and he has the 9th starting position, his best start since here in April when he started from 4th spot. And once again, Earnhardt trying to pick up positions here. Gets to the inside of Hamilton. He's going to pass Bobby. Now he's got Steve Park up ahead.
And Hamilton now can't get to the bottom of the racetrack. Park finally got by. Earnhardt gets by. And here comes Brett Bodine. A little contact there between those 2 cars.
Well, you have to be very careful when you get that close together. You can very easily cut a valve stem off. Of course, I'm sure that most of them have hidden those valve spring stems as far into the wheel as they possibly can to keep that from happening.
Hamilton get the wall?
I think he did.
Boy, he was awful close to it if he didn't. And he was awful close to getting that thing all the way around.
Now he's finally going to be able to get to the inside.
This is what can happen at Martinsville on a short track. Look at the chain reaction here as everybody slams on the brakes and whoa!
And Ricky Craven had to really go high there in the car number 50.
Best battle continues to be for third up front, as once again the Burton brothers from, we determine what, about 50 miles from here?
About 50 miles from here, South Boston, Virginia. Both of them grew up.
Here comes Mark Martin doing battle with the 93 car of Dave Blaney. That's back for the 23rd position. And behind Blaney is Jimmy Spencer and Kyle Petty, who is in the 45 sprint car here this weekend. They will run Homestead also, in addition to here at Martinsville. Notice the speed there of Mark Martin, 91.6. The leader is turning a lap of 92.6 that last time around. The leader is Rusty Wallace, as his advantage over Tony Stewart amounts to about a half a second.
And that's only about 3 or 4 car lengths.
There's Jerry Nadeau in the 01 of Ted Musgrave. Darrell Waltrip, as Benny said, in his final short track race, his final appearance here at Martinsville. This is the 225th short track race that Darrell Waltrip has participated in his long and illustrious career.
Right now he's running in the 17th position.
That's up 1 position from where he started. He's 18th.
And they've got Kyle Petty, the 45 car on the outside, and Sterling Marlin, the Coors car, goes by, takes a position away.
John Andretti there in the 43 is a former winner here, won in the spring of 1999, giving Pontiac its last win here at Martinsville, most recent win.
Was on the 40 car of Sterling Marlin. He's made a pretty good move from 34th up to 26th.
But now Jeff Burton has gone into third, passing his brother Ward, and once again we see Kenny Wallace with a good effort here in the early going. He has always run well here at Martinsville.
Aha, a little bit of a bump.
Stacy Compton against the wall in the Kodak form, and the caution flag is out.
He's going to stay on the lead lap. Don't know how much damage he might have done, but he did stay on the lead lap.
Stacy Compton began his Winston Cup career here at Martinsville in April of '96, but he brings out the first caution of the afternoon here in 2000. Let's take a look at it.
Well, there's Kenny Schrader, the 36 car, right behind Compton. Gets in the back of him. He tries to save it, but he can't. He nails the gas, does a 360, and just touches the wall there at the end. One more angle.
There it is. There was definite contact. Just spun him around.
Stacy Compton, another driver from the Commonwealth of Virginia. He is from Hurt, Virginia. And we have yet another look at it on the far right of your screen. There, contact already made between Schrader and Compton that sent him spinning around. So 18 laps completed now here at Martinsville out of 500, and our first caution of the afternoon is flying because of this incident involving Stacy Compton. Rusty Wallace leads. Back in a moment. Caution still out here at Martinsville because of an incident up in turn number 4 involving Stacy Compton. Now, some of the drivers who were having handling problems did make pit stops. Ned, who were some of them?
Well, Elliott Sadler made a pit stop. Matt Kenseth, Ken Schrader, Michael Waltrip, Jeremy Mayfield, Hut Strickland, and of course the 9 car that caused the caution to come out, Stacy Compton, and Kevin LePage, Mike Bliss, and the 50 car of Ricky Craven. And here's the 97 car back into the pits. He was one of those that stopped a little bit earlier.
And of course is Kurt Busch, who is in his second Winston Cup race. He made his debut at Dover last weekend, having a remarkable race, starting 10th and finishing in 18th position. Boy, he's in danger of getting lapped here. Kevin LePage has been lapped. The green flag comes back out. Tony Stewart takes a look to the inside of Rusty Wallace, but he cannot pass, and Wallace maintains the advantage as Busch tries to hurry up and stay on the lead lap.
exiting pit road, Bob, and he's going to be black flag. He was trying to beat that pace car.
He was going to get lapped, so he was trying to pay the speed limit, but it was obvious he was going to get lapped, so he tried to beat the pace car out, and he was speeding as he exited pit road. There's no doubt about that. The problem is now he's probably going to lose a couple of laps as he obeys that black flag.
It was a stop-and-go penalty. He has come in for that penalty. There you see him coming down pit road.
And on pit road with a flat left rear is Casey Atwood, who is also in his second NASCAR Winston Cup race. He made his debut at Richmond a couple of weeks ago, finishing 19th, but a flat left rear has sent him to pit road early.
Here's Ricky Rudd trying to make a move on Bobby Hamilton. We saw Hamilton out in that wide groove a little bit earlier, and it cost him. Might cost him again. As Ricky Rudd tries to move on the inside, but so far hasn't been able to make it work.
Ricky Rudd's most recent victory in Winston Cup competition was here 2 years ago on a hot day. We all remember how Ricky was just totally spent after that race. They had to literally drag him out of the car, give him oxygen before he did his winter interview.
It's a half-mile racetrack, but it's one of the most physically demanding racetracks on the circuit. Today, these guys get a break. It's in the 70s. That day, it was in the 90s, and Ricky Rudd did his victory lane interview laying down on his back.
Rudd has now moved to the 10th position after starting in 11th. Casey Atwood in the 19 car. He is now 3 laps down. Kevin LePage and Kurt Busch have also lost laps. Here's Nadeau and LePage both trying to get to the inside of Steve Park.
Actually, Steve Park is going backwards, Bob. He's lost about 4 or 5 positions here in the last 3 or 4 laps. His car is not working to his expectations, at least at the moment.
Right now, he's back in 15th position. What's the problem there, Bill?
The car just won't turn in the turns, in the center of the turns, Bob. Really tight. It just will not turn for him. They were hoping the leaders would come in on that last caution because they want to make a wedge adjustment and a track bar adjustment. That'll be the change when they finally do pit.
Well, they wanted to pit, they wanted to make an adjustment, but they just felt like they could not give up that much track position. Steve Park currently is back in 15th position, and the car has the last 15 or so made a pit stop, but he would have to go all the way back to 30th, and he just felt like now would not be a good time to do that.
Well, for a taste of the race, here's some Jimmy Dean telemetry on Rusty Wallace. You see about 60 to 70% braking through the corner, and now watch the speed and the RPMs go up.
And we'll see 9,000 RPMs, about 8,900 RPMs. Just as he comes off the corner.
Boy, from a time standpoint, they're on the brakes almost as much as they're on the accelerator. See how hard he hits the brakes there?
Up to about 122 miles an hour on the back stretch. Here on the front stretch, I saw about 120. Here's Wally Dallenbach and Joe Nemechek doing battle for the 19th position.
Dallenbach started back in 19th, and he's about to go back to 18. It appears as though he is. Quickly dives in on the inside before Rick Mast can get alongside.
Joe Nemechek in the 33 car will celebrate his 37th birthday on Tuesday of this coming week. Marlin passing Mark Martin.
Well, Marlin continues his march towards the front. Remember, he started back in 34th position, trying to, or just took over the 22nd position.
On board with Rick Mast. We'll see what kind of RPMs that he might be turning. And we hear the the engine misfiring right at the end of the straightaway. They're using a rev limiter on the engines to make sure that they do not turn too many RPMs. When he gets to a certain RPM, the ignition quits working.
Boy, through the corners, Sterling closes right up on him. Kyle Petty, Dave Blaney, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. doing battle. Earnhardt to the inside of Blaney, and they race for the 27th position.
Kyle Petty just passed Blaney the last time around. Now Earnhardt trying to take that position. They caught Blaney out in that outside groove.
And there also is Dale Jarrett.
They're battling for the 28th position. Ronnie Benson, car number 10 right there.
Jarrett started back in 31st position. Now here is Johnny Benson to the inside of Blaney. So as long as Blaney's hung up at that outside line, he is in deep trouble. And our points leader, Bobby Labonte, now comes up to challenge Bobby Hamilton for the 11th position. Nadeau and Kevin LePage right behind. Again, LePage is not on the same lap as everybody else. Not much going on up front, so we stay with where the battles are. Rusty Wallace continues to lead by just a couple of car lengths over Tony Stewart. Jeff Burton is third, Ward Burton fourth, and Kenny Wallace fifth. They stay in that order up front.
And walking through the Bobby Hamilton pit this morning, was talking to the team, and Ed McClure, one of the team members, one of the owners, birthday today.
Well, as we've talked all weekend, Benny, Bobby Hamilton will not be with this team. He's going to go to the 55 car next year, but he wants desperately to win a race before the association ends.
We went to the trouble this week to go to Greenville, South Carolina to test on a racetrack there that's similar to the Speedway. Felt like it would help him be better prepared for Martinsville.
Ricky Rudd continues to make a nice march forward. He is now caught up to Jeff Gordon, who's seventh.
Rudd started in the 11th position, so he's just very quietly has picked off one at a time to move up into 8th. There you see the leader, so all that group of cars not too far behind.
Yep, running right together.
And it is going to be a little too long for Rusty Wallace. It's going to be coming up on the tail end of the pack.
45 out of 500 laps have been completed in the NAPA Autocare 500. Rusty Wallace leads. Tony Stewart is second, followed by Jeff Burton, Ward Burton, and Kenny Wallace. We'll be right back. We have just gone to our second caution here because of Dale Earnhardt Jr. up in turn number 2, and we can watch the replay here.
Goes down the corner, and the right front tire is going to go flat. Right there, he's turning left. All of a sudden, about right now, the right front goes flat. We see the sparks as the chassis drags the racetrack, but he wisely slams on the brakes, does not make any contact with the wall, and here they all come down pit road. Ned.
And Earnhardt Jr. did go a lap down as everybody comes into the pits.
Wow. There are 39 cars on the lead lap, and you can bet that most, if not all, will be in. Doc?
Rusty Wallace wants one round of wedge, a quarter turn on the track bar, and 1 pound of air pressure down all the way around except for the left rear. But Rusty's going to get some major adjustments, and right in front of him, the guy that was chasing him from third spot, Jeff Burton, also wants bite in his car. Bill Weber, how about Tony Stewart?
Very tricky pit stall. So far, so good. 4 tires and fuel. Wants more forward. Right, good stop. Hooking everybody out of pit road. John Kernan.
Dale Jarrett was in 4 tires, just a minor chassis adjustment, around a wedge out of the left rear for Dale Jarrett. He's fairly happy with the car.
Boy, what a jam up we had coming down pit road. In fact, we've had a wreck right here at the start-finish line on pit road. Matt Kenseth looks like has tangled with the 9 car.
Kenseth's cars tore up pretty bad there in the left front.
There were a lot of cars that were just having to stop that as traffic was coming out of their pits, those that were pitting back up towards turn 4.
So the two top rookie candidates have problems here. Somebody's tire has rolling down pit road as they're trying to get the 9 car started again. The pit crew out to push it.
And Kurt Busch is backing down pit road. That must be his tire. Yes, it is. The left rear is gone. He left with the lug nuts loose, and we see there's no tire on the left rear. Now, can they get the jack under the car? Folks, just watch all this stuff up here on the top of the... Watch all this as the cars start leaving. Bobby Hamilton pulls out in front. They have to slow down. Now, just as... I guess that's Blaney. When he starts going... There we see Michael Waltrip involved. I guess the 17 car ran in the back of Michael Waltrip, but the 9 car of Stacy Compton would not roll. I don't know what that's all about, but we see him changing the radiator in the 17 car.
So the caution brought out by Dale Earnhardt Jr., and during it, the top rookie candidate, Matt Kenseth, has problems. Less than a lap has been run under green as we are back to competition here at Martinsville. It is Tony Stewart, now the leader of the race. That is Jeff Burton now running second. Rusty Wallace is third. Mike Skinner fourth, and Jeff Gordon is in fifth position. Now the 19 car third in the line there is not on the lead lap, and a car going slowly down the backstretch.
Ward Burton and Caterpillar Pontiac. He couldn't get into the pits. He could not get down in time to get into the pits.
He's inside of you now. Come on down.
You see him turning all the switches off, which tells me that something happened to the engine.
The car going very slowly down the front stretch here.
Yeah, I can't believe that he'll be able to coast all the way back around. He's going to have to go all the way around this corner before he can even get into what used to be the back pits.
Down to Bill.
Yeah, Ward just said it blew up big time. Blew up big time. They're finished.
Caution is out. Ward's car stopped at the end of the front stretch. Let's listen.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a rod broke, something.
Yeah, sounds like something desperate happened inside that engine.
Well, a DNF would be his third straight DNF. After 37 straight races in which he was running at the finish. Back in a moment.
We welcome you back to the Martinsville Speedway, where we'll be going back to racing action in just a moment, checking out the right front tire that came off of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car. As best as they can tell, I told you at the beginning of the show just how much they use the brakes. Well, that creates a lot of heat. It made it so hot that it melted the bead on the inside of the tire, causing it to blow out and go flat. Now let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Ward Burton has climbed out of his Caterpillar Pontiac, and after that great qualifying effort, fourth quickest, his day comes to a premature end here at lap 65. Ward climbing out, talking to the crew, and Ward, it sounded like he just suddenly snapped. Something inside the engine?
Crank broke. You know, we had practice second round qualifying real close to the last practice, and we elected to wait change motor after that practice. That was a big mistake. We won't make that mistake again, but guys at the motor shop have been doing an excellent job. It's the first motor failure we've had in a long time. We just can't get any luck this last month, but we learned from this to go on.
Tough break for a Virginia driver at a Virginia track. Bill Weber?
A very tight pit road just got a little easier for Tony Stewart. This is Ward Burton's pit stall. It's now vacant. Right next to it is Tony Stewart's pit stall. They have to get all the car except for the right rear into that stall. But because now the 22 is gone, Tony will have a clear path that will help them as this race goes along. Green about to come out.
And Stewart will be up front as the green does come out.
Ready.
Just a final thought on Ward Burton. He got off such a great start in the year 2000, but his last top 5 was at Bristol in the spring when he finished 3rd.
Casey Atwood there in the car number 19, 3 laps down. Letting the lead lap cars go by.
And a battle for second spot is Rusty Wallace. Dives on the inside of Jeff Burton. Takes it away.
That was easy.
Yeah, once he got a nose under there, Jeff Burton didn't fight him, which was a smart thing to do. That's part of that being patient that we talk about when we come to Martinsville.
There is Mike Skinner, who is running in 4th spot. Up ahead is Burton. Lowe's will not be back as a sponsor on the Mike Skinner car in 2001. Side-by-side action here involves Jimmy Spencer and Mark Martin. Not anymore.
It's a battle for the 17th position.
Well, Mark came back up on the outside as that inside lane was sort of bumper to bumper. Spencer didn't have anywhere to go once he got there.
Kenny Schrader, that M&M's car. That's a pretty good one. He started 39th. And he's up there battling for the 19th position now.
Here's Kenny Wallace trying to take 5th away from Jeff Gordon. He's got a good position down there on the inside of the track as we watch from Ricky Rudd's perspective. And Kenny is going to take 5th, and Ricky is going to go to 6th. And now with Gordon hung out there, he may lose several spots. Yep, looks like he's going to get down in front of Earnhardt.
Yeah, Earnhardt tried to jump in there, but he's a little bit too far back.
Copter Cam is providing the overhead shots here at Martinsville today, where we have had this beautiful weather all weekend with the temperature in the 70s and partly cloudy skies here today, but no rain in the forecast through the next several days here in the southern part of Virginia. We might mention that Matt Kenseth, who we saw a little bit earlier behind the wall getting his radiator changed, he's back out on the racetrack. He is 8 laps down. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is also back out on the racetrack. He is 10 laps down. There is Kenseth in the 17. And he is running just ahead of this battle for position. To the communication with Wally Dallenbach in the 75 car. His spotter telling him if it's clear or if there's someone above or below.
Well, that 40 car of Sterling Marlin continues to march towards the front. He's up to 21st. Had a little damage there to the back, but doesn't seem to be affecting the car right now. To take over does take over the 20th position.
th, 20th, and 21st right here. trying to get by Mark Martin. They battled for that position side by side until Mark took it, and now Jimmy would very much like to get it back.
Like the screen that keeps the debris from going into the radiator has been knocked a little bit loose on the 26 car. It's possible that some of the rubber and debris could slide in there and plug up the radiator.
Fortunately, on this racetrack, they don't wear the tires that bad. It's not like a Darlington or like North Wilkesboro used to be, where they really would grind the rubber off. It might not be as big a factor as it could be at some other racetracks. We saw Mark just move over and let Spencer go.
Jimmy Spencer's best finish here at Martinsville came 7 years ago. He finished third. Here's Dale Jarrett, who started 31st and has picked up 10 positions since the green dropped.
And about the last 5 of those, Bob, he's passed on the outside, which all those cars running bumper to bumper there in front of him, so he has been able to pass some cars on the outside, which is pretty unusual here at Martinsville.
Dale Jarrett made his Winston Cup debut here at Martinsville in the spring of 1984, and what he has done since then is amazing. Here is Kenny Wallace and Mike Skinner doing battle. That's for 4th.
And Skinner's got position. Looks like he's going to be able to take that spot away from Kenny Wallace. But he hasn't been able to do it so far.
Ricky Rudd, he's just wondering which one of those he needs to follow.
Onboard camera here with Mike Skinner looking back to Kenny. Now there's the lead that Tony Stewart has. It's about 3/4 of a second as we have completed 89 laps here in the NAPA Autocare 500. Tony Stewart, who won last week at Dover, is the leader with Wallace, Burton, Skinner, and Kenny Wallace, the top 5. Tony Stewart continues to lead the NAPA Autocare 500 with coming up on 100 laps completed. That's the conclusion of lap number 98. Rusty Wallace is in 2nd position. Tony was eligible for the Bud Shootout at Daytona in February earlier because he had won the pole for the 2nd Pocono race, but he has now 2 poles for the year 2000. There is the lineup for the 2001 Bud Shootout involving the Bud pole winners this year. Rusty Wallace with 8 poles this season. And there is Tony Stewart, who in the first 10 races of 2000 did not lead a lap. He has since led 12 races and is second to Rusty in laps led this year, but there's a huge gap coming into today. Tony had led 824 and Rusty Wallace had led more than 1,500. Jerry has more on Rusty Wallace.
Guys, yesterday in happy hour, Rusty Wallace only ran the first 20 minutes, but it was not by his own choosing. They had an engine problem. They had to call it a day. What happened was 2 of the rocker arm studs pulled out of the thread. There's a long bar runs on top of the head, and at one end, 2 different studs pulled out of the threads. And of course, that meant they had to stop happy hour and put a fresh engine in for today. Now, crew chief Robin Pemberton rationalized by saying, hey, we'll have a fresh motor in for the race, and we'll have 100 laps less on our engine than anyone who ran happy hour. But still, it has to make you wonder if you're Rusty Wallace. Last time he ran this car was in Richmond. He led 88 laps and had engine failure and parked it for the night. A little bit of concern here in the 2 team.
And we'll watch as we go on board our Jimmy Dean telemetry. We can see what kind of RPMs that he turns. I saw 9,100, and there's no wonder that stuff decides to break at that kind of RPM. Gets tired of going up and down that fast.
Boy, back in the days when we were racing, Benny, of course, those were 427 cubic inch ones, at least in my day. And if you got over 6,500 RPMs, you were stretching it.
Here is Dale Earnhardt, who's caught up to Jeff Gordon, who's running 7th. Earnhardt tries to get to the inside.
That hole closed up. But he'll try to open it up again and does. Gordon don't fight it that time.
Dale recently became a grandfather for the 3rd time. Kelly, his daughter, gave birth to 6-pound, 14-ounce Carson.
Well, it's been about 50 laps since these cars made the pit stop and changed 4 tires. So now we're going to start seeing the guys that have that good chassis setup that can go for the long runs and the guys that are struggling, that are only good for 30, 40 laps. They said, guys this morning in the garage here said about 50 laps, and they really started dropping off, some of them.
Kenny Wallace got a little tap there from Ricky Rudd last lap. Rudd trying to pass Kenny and will now get to the inside of him in the corner.
Here comes Earnhardt up there to join in on that battle.
Looks like Rudd may have hit the curb, didn't he, down there in the corner?
I have.
Earnhardt's going to try it on the outside.
And he's going to make it work. Looks like. Pretty impressive.
Looks like this is the guy that, and now he's going to just drive down on the inside of Kenny Wallace. Wow, he passed 2 in 1 lap. That's impressive.
And that moves him up to 5th. Here is Dale Jarrett continuing to march forward. He's battling for 18th with Ted Musgrave. By the way, our points leader, Bobby Labonte, is currently being shown in the 9th position, about 3.5 seconds behind Stewart. Sadler. Meanwhile, Earnhardt looked high. Now he decides to go low and will try to pass his teammate, Mike Skinner, going into turn number 1.
Well, I'll tell you, his car, Benny, you talk about working after about 50 laps. Looks like his is one that's working very good. He passed on the outside. Now trying to pass on the inside. Hasn't made that work yet. But he's going from one groove to the other.
Looks like the guys in front of this battle of Earnhardt and Skinner, talking about Rusty Wallace and Jeff Burke, looks like they're struggling just a little bit right now as Tony Stewart is starting to pull away. Tony Stewart is now 1.5 seconds in front of Rusty as he loses the 2nd spot.
All kinds of positions being changed here in the top 5, Doc, including Earnhardt.
Bob, yesterday in happy hour, Dale Earnhardt was very concerned. In the short runs, his car would not turn in the middle of the corner. They worked with the rear sway bar, changed the right rear spring, and said the car was still tight in the middle. But they knew in long runs, they would be one of the cars to beat. Earnhardt climbed down to the car after happy hour with a huge smile on his face. And when he climbed in this morning, just before the national anthem, he had a bigger smile. He must know something.
Cars performing very well here with 114 laps completed. And Ricky Rudd is looking good, too.
Here he comes on the inside of Rusty Wallace. Rudd.
That'll move him up to 4th. So Wallace, who was running 2nd a few laps ago, is now back to 5th. And now Kenny Wallace and Mike Skinner. Oh, and Hut Strickland has a problem in the Levy car.
And he has smacked an outside wall hard.
And Rick Mast is also involved.
He hit the inside wall hard here, too.
I believe Rusty Wallace has a flat right front tire also.
Well, there's smoke coming from the car in any case.
If that's the case, is Rusty going to pit and take a penalty, or is he going to ride around the racetrack?
Well, the others are coming into the pit, so...
Our pit road is open,
yeah,
so.
Right.
Hut Strickland is out of the car. He scampers the... And,
oh, man. Boy, he hit that hard, didn't he?
And there is the flat right front on Rusty's car, John.
Dale Jarrett is in for a floor-tire change. Work already completed on the rights. Now on the left sides. Just a little bit slow getting the car up in the air. He's in the very first pit. As you enter pit road, he is down and away. Jerry Punch.
Jeff Burton, half a pound of air pressure out of both rear tires. 1 round down on the track bar and 1 can of fuel. That's all. Bill Weber?
4 tires, no changes for Tony Stewart. First stop was 14.79. Another good stop, Earnhardt, then Rudd, then Skinner off that road.
Big concern, Rusty Wallace had cut a tire. Rusty had a little more time on pit road, and this smoking, simmering tire has been pulled here behind the wall. A big break for Rusty Wallace, apparently debris on the racetrack, and he was able to get the car in and get the tire changed under the caution flag. But they dodged the bullet here once again in the Miller Lite team.
Well, he stays on the lead lap, but loses a huge amount of track position. Here is Rick Mass on board. Becomes involved in an accident with Hud Strickland, bringing out the 3rd caution of the afternoon at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. On board with a pace car as it leads the field under caution here for the 4th time this afternoon. An incident up in turn number 4 has brought out the caution involving Hud Strickland and Rick Mast. Here's a Coke pit summary. Tony Stewart stayed the same. Jeff Burton lost 3 positions. Earnhardt gained 1. Rudd gained 1, and Mike Skinner also gained 1. But now look at Rusty Wallace. He was 9th when he came in and comes out in 20th position. Bobby Labonte, our points leader, picked up 3 spots during that series of pit stops. Jerry?
Let me explain. The team now has examined this tire along with the Goodyear engineers standing in their pits, and they cannot find any evidence of debris that may have cut the tire. And that is really cause for concern here, because in the spring on lap 254, Rusty had a lot of brake heat in the right front tire, melted the bead, ended up losing 2 laps. Now, he came and made both laps back up and led, but ended up fading at the end to finish 10th. Now the concern here just past the 100 lap mark, is this brake related? And Rusty on the radio a moment ago said, I haven't been using that much brakes, and that makes the team even more concerned because it is very, very hot. And you see where apparently the bead may have melted down on the inside of the tire. No evidence of it being cut. It could simply be brake temperature, and that could mean trouble for the 2 team the rest of the day.
So under caution we remain as Rusty has himself back in the 20th position. Here's the incident that has caused the 4th caution. Hud Strickland hard into the wall off of corner number 4. Rick Mass stays in the race. Strickland is out.
In a race car, he said the car was a little bit loose. They're not seeing any wear at all on the left side tires, so he decided to roll the dice, get some track position, and he also said just putting the right side tires on the car with the older left side should tighten the car up for him. Now to Bill Weber.
Well, obviously another good stop for Dale Earnhardt. On the first stop, a small air pressure change to tighten up the car just a little bit. On this stop, no changes. The car's very good. Jerry?
Goodyear engineers have told Rusty Wallace's crew that right front tire looked just like the one that came off Earnhardt Jr.'s car. Rusty says, I am not using the brakes. I promise you, I'm not on those brakes. Now the concern is, are they going to be above or below recommended air pressure? They're talking about to see exactly what the problem might be, but the concern is heat now in that right front tire.
We'll be going back to green flag racing next time around as the 2x2 formation begins. 33 cars currently on the lead lap. 2 cars out, Ward Burton and Hud Strickland. Tony Stewart at the front of the field with Earnhardt second, then Rudd, then Skinner, then Jeff Burton. Bobby Hamilton running 4th, then Bobby Labonte, Jeff Gordon, Johnny Benson,
now you're clear all around,
and Kenny Wallace. Here we go.
You ready?
One thing Tony Stewart wanted to do was clear the 16 car of Kevin LePage before he got into turn 1. He did that very successfully.
I noticed that Tony Stewart slid up the racetrack when he took the green flag, went down in turn 1. So it looks like these tires need a few laps to really hook up to their maximum.
Get the air pressure build up a little bit, I guess.
See Jeff Burton, the 99 car, and Bobby Hamilton side by side as Hamilton has him on the outside. He's on the outside, and the lap car's on the inside. Bobby Labonte trying to go on the outside of Jeff Burton. Flagman waving that blue flag with a yellow stripe, telling the cars on the inside, you have faster cars approaching you. Give them room.
There's the 4 of Bobby Hamilton closing in on Mike Skinner. Running alongside Stacy Compton. There's a lap down in 35th. Dale Jarrett, who is back in the 18th position with the set 40 car of Sterling Marlin.
50 car, Ricky Craven's running 16th. 40 car is 17th.
Sterling Marlin just passed DJ on the inside the last lap. DJ got hung up out there, and all those cars running side by side there. They don't know which groove to take, whether to take the high groove, the low groove. Because once you got about 4 or 5 rows there, running 2 abreast.
And right behind these guys is the 2 car of Rusty Wallace. And after that flat tire has fallen back. So that's the bad problem. When you look in your windshield, see all those cars. That's not a good feeling. Look at Rusty. The red going almost all the way over.
That's Bill Elliott up ahead, who's running 19. So Rusty has not gained a position since the green flag came out.
Then you wonder if he isn't using those brakes more than he realizes. Of course, in this traffic, he has to use them a lot, but sometimes it's hard to gauge just how hard you are on those brakes.
Here's Jeff Gordon to the outside of Kenny Wallace. And Kenny now gets the 9th position. Stewart just a couple of car length or 3 or 4 car length advantage on Dale Earnhardt.
Well, he pulled out to probably 8 or 10 car length advantage on Earnhardt. It looks like right now that Earnhardt might be a little bit quicker than Tony Stewart. And Ricky Rudd is right there with both of them.
Sure is. Down to Bill.
Well, those guys all making time on the track, but making up time in the pits. Tony Stewart for his first 2 stops, 14.79 and 14.49. Rudd trying to go around Earnhardt on the outside. He's also doing well on pit road. His first stop was 17.32. The second stop for Rudd, 14.19, more than 3 seconds faster, and they didn't need to make any changes, so the team helping out their driver on pit road.
Well, Ricky has taken 2nd position now, and he comes into this race tied for 5th in the point standings. That's the highest he's been in the point standings since 1997. And talk about an improvement from last year. At this time in 1999, Rudd was 28th in the point standings. I'm sorry, 34th in the point standings.
And you know, Earnhardt, very seldom do you see Earnhardt move over and let someone go by. But I believe that was a strategy move. I think he wants Ricky Rudd to get up there and race Tony Stewart as hard as they possibly can and hopefully use each other's car up. We talked about brakes and how much heat there is. This is the Rebestos onboard camera on board Ricky Rudd. Straight away, the rotor cools off a little bit. He gets to the corner. Look, immediately, it just turns cherry red. I also want you to watch the deflection in the tire on the straightaway. The tire is straight on the rim. He gets to the corner. Look how the rim is just trying to pull off the tire. And you see, you wonder why it would melt the bead on the tire. Look how close the inside of the tire is to that brake rotor that's cherry red.
A whole bunch of the Texaco Haviland Ford in his rear view mirror, driven by Wright.
Last time by, Tony Stewart was a little quicker. That may be because he was in front.
So far, Tony has led 65 laps. Rusty Wallace has led 53. Martin has also led here at Martinsville. They're the top 5. Stewart, Rudd, Earnhardt, Mike Skinner, and Jeff Burton. More from Martinsville in a moment. Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, Bill Weber, and Dr. Jerry Punch. Back with you at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. It's the NAPA Autocare 500. Here the top 6 in the point standings going into this race, and here's where they are running. 3 of the top 6 are running in the top 5, and 5 are running within the top 10. Dale Jarrett, who started 31st, has moved up to 17th. He, of course, is 3rd in the point standings.
Actually, there are 4 in the top 5.
Yeah, that's right. Stewart is the leader of the race by about a third of a second, or that much, as we ride along with the second place car of Ricky Rudd.
They've been able to pull away by about 10 or 12 car lengths from Dale Earnhardt. There you see him coming in the picture. Earnhardt has a pretty decent lead on his teammate, Mike Skinner.
It's like Jeff Burton starting to come back to the front. We saw Bobby Hamilton, the Kodak film Chevrolet, pass Jeff Burton just after the restart. Burton's been able to pass him back, and now he's on the back bumper of Mike Skinner, trying to take over that 4th spot.
We had a computer glitch. Tony Stewart has led 102 laps now. Rusty Wallace 53. Our computer was showing that Mark Martin had led, but he has not. Only 2 leaders to this point. Wasn't my fault, BP. It was a computer. Oh, yeah.
You can always blame my computer.
Glad you're so sympathetic.
I knew that's what it was, bro.
Thank you, Ned.
Still trying to look low on Mike Skinner. He might have something here. And Skinner's going to let it go.
Jeff Burton to 4th. Ward is already out of the race. He was the first out. Here's 1st and 2nd. There is Earnhardt, who's only less than a second back of... Oh, we got a big crash.
The 50 car is involved, the 97 of Kurt Busch, and still no caution. If Kurt can get it going, I don't think he'll have a caution, but so far it isn't going.
Nope, he's sitting there.
And now the caution waves. Kurt Busch, the young driver from Las Vegas, Nevada, in the John Deere Ford, took over this car at Dover. Here is the replay.
And it looks like the 97 of Kurt Busch got into the left rear quarter panel of the car number 50 of Craven.
This is from Steve Parks on board.
Oh, Park gets into the back of the 97. And how much damage that might have done. Now the leaders are all coming down pit road again.
Except Stewart, who has decided to stay out there and maintain track position.
Wow, that's huge. That is huge.
Here's John.
Johnny Benson is in. They'll do 4 tires this time. They took a half a pound of air pressure out of both rear tires. Also a round and a half a wedge in the right rear just to try and tighten the car up. Around to the left side now. Little trouble getting the jack underneath the car. car, but they finally get it up. Left side's going on. He'll be gone soon now to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Likewise, 4 tires for Jeff Burton. Said no changes. The car was a little tight at the very beginning, but getting better and better. So no changes, 4 tires only. Bill Weber.
4 tires and fuel for Ricky Rudd. Another good stop for the 28.
And Robert Preston, the Jasper engine, that's 77. He gets out of, gets a pretty good track position out of these pit stops. But Ned, I can't believe that Tony Stewart did not pit.
Yeah, I can't either. He either thought the others would not come in. Of course, when you're sitting there in the lead, you're vulnerable. You don't know if they're going to stop or not. And so I guess they chose not to. They'd only run about 40 laps since their last pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out.
Indeed, an interesting call. Tony Stewart stays out during the caution. He's going to be the leader. Kyle Petty is now second, followed by Jeff Gordon. 165 laps completed here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia as we get set for a resumption of the NAPA Autocare 500. Under caution due to an incident over in turn number 2 involving Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch. Neither Tony Stewart nor Kyle Petty, who's running second, pitted during this caution, and the 24 of Jeff Gordon and the 2 of Rusty Wallace only got right side tires.
I think Sterling Marlin only got right side tires as well.
I would see that the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. with those fresh tires trying to get a lap back. He's up there about to go by Tony Stewart.
He is 10 laps down, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is.
And here's the battle for the lead with Kyle Petty on the inside.
Trying to take advantage of the fact that Stewart was on the outside when Earnhardt went by.
Down to Bill Weber.
Well, Zipadelli and Stewart talked it over under the caution. They only had about 30 green flag laps on those tires. Tony said the car could be a little better in the center of the turns, but other than that, they felt the car was good. No reason to come in. They felt most guys would stay out behind them. They told Tony, do the best you can. Let's get an update on Kyle from John Kernan.
Well, I talked to Kyle Petty's crew and asked them why they decided to stay out and not pit that time. They said, hey, you know what? The car was the best that it has been all day long, and we're not here racing for points. We're here for experience. So let's try and get a little experience out in front of the pack.
Originally, there were no plans for Kyle to run this car this year. They were going to wait till next year, but Sprint has a presence here in this area of the country and also in the Miami area, so they have decided to run here and at Homestead later this year. So Kyle Petty right now running in the second position. He had a great run here last year, starting 4th and finishing 7th.
And they talk about getting the crew some experience in running the NASCAR Winston Cup race. And I think that's a very good idea to just see what's going on and just how tough it is on these weekends.
Jeff Gordon up ahead in 3rd. We're on board with Ricky Rudd, who's 4th. Right behind is Jeff Burton in 5th. And then comes Sterling Marlin in 6th. And then Earnhardt.
Earnhardt, of course, took on 4 tires. We mentioned that Sterling Marlin only took on 2. He had a very fast pit stop. Got him some good track position because he was running back in about 16th position before the caution came out. So he now is up in 6th, picked up about 10 spots.
And now Kyle Petty got up high, allowing Matt Kenseth to go by. And now Jeff Gordon closes right in on the rear spoiler of the 45 Sprint Pontiac.
I think if Sterling Marlin brushed the wall off turn 2 that time and allowed Dale. Oh, some piece of metal flew up against the outside retaining wall.
Wow. That is on the backstretch.
Meanwhile, Kyle Petty has lost the second position to Jeff Gordon. 3rd to, and the caution flag is waving. I guess the debris is caused the caution flag.
Matt Kenseth very alertly got 1 of his laps back.
He's now 6 laps down, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. did earlier. So he's 9 laps down, and the caution flag out again as the pace car comes out. Watch this now.
There, that piece of flying, it hits the good. It looks like the exhaust system. You see it? It's going to draw a circle, but it vanished. It just vanished. It looked like an exhaust system off someone's car.
Word is that it could be off the 40 car of Sterling Marlin.
Let's see, they're trying to pick it up over there.
A little warm, I bet.
Yes, yeah, it's a little hot. We see Sterling Marlin hit the wall off turn 2. See the right side there where the Coors is knocked in, and we see the concrete dust on the right side tires. I don't see any tailpipes, so yeah, there's
using the shovels to.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, even with gloves on.
Not exactly the right tools for that job, but they got it done.
Absolutely. And nobody got burned.
I tell you, this could, whoever car that is off of, that could create problems for them. Carbon monoxide and heat.
Yeah. Even hotter than it normally is inside that car.
Wally Dallenbach is in the pits with the hood up on his car. Now he gets back out, but he's going to lose a lap.
Michael Waltrip has made a pit stop. He is going to stay on the lead lap. Still, that piece of debris is out there in the backstretch. That is not the one that we saw fly off the car. That was up in turn 4.
Let's see if that might have come off of Mike Skinner's car.
Oh,
no, it's flying towards him.
Wow.
Yeah, something happened in front of him that it came from.
And that probably is the piece of debris that's in the backstretch.
Yeah. I think the Sterling Marlin hitting the wall off 2 has caused all these problems.
Sterling Marlin still running 7th here as 177 of the 500 laps are completed. ESPN's live coverage of the NAPA Autocare 500 from Martinsville is being brought to you by Polaris ATVs. Overdosed on civilization? Polaris is the way out. By Route 66, jeans, clothes, it's not Main Street, only at Kmart. And by Pfizer, where life is our life's work. Okay, we got a replay here as we're getting ready to go back to the green flag as to why we went caution.
All right, the 40 car. Watch him, folks. He comes off turn 2. He's going to go up, and about right here, he's going to brush the wall. See that little bit of a wiggle? He hit the wall off 2. And that loosened the exhaust. Since the exhaust was coming out the right side, it loosened, and about right there, it's going to leave and go up and hit the outside wall. We saw them pick it up. Green flag is in the air.
Get ready. Ready.
And his lead lap cars have all of these lap cars to pass again.
And once again, Tony Stewart successful, at least for the moment, of putting the lap car of Kevin LePage between himself and the second place right now, Jeff Gordon. And look at Jeff Burton up on the high side.
Trying to go by Ricky Rudd on the outside. He's got position.
But he's decided that's not the place to be when he goes into turn 3, so he backs off, falls in line.
Casey Atwood there in the 19 car. There's a couple of laps down, 3 to be exact. Got a flat left rear tire earlier on.
Jeff Gordon continues to run strong. Rauner now in second spot.
And impressive on this run, Bob, because his car has been very tight early in runs. They need long green flag runs. Otherwise, the car is just too tight. It gets better and better the more laps they turn on the track. But on that last stop, they just took 2 right side tires. So they're chasing Stewart and trying to hold off Rudd. Rudd has 4 tires. Of course, Tony didn't stop under the last 2 cautions.
Well, Sterling Marlin's still on the pace despite the loss of the exhaust.
Oh, we've got trouble off of turn 4 here. Kenny Wallace spinning around, and so is the 4-car Bobby Hamilton.
Almost a track blocker as everybody dives to the inside to avoid both Hamilton and Kenny Wallace.
There were a lot of cars that were running side by side back there in that area where they were running from about 8th to 20th, really.
Oh, we still got cars spinning out as they're racing back to the line.
We understand that Stacy Compton had contact with the 8-car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Little E is stopped down here on the inside of the racetrack.
That's a lot of damage there. We see evidently rode across that left front. His tire is flat, but there's have to have been some suspension in that Budweiser Chevrolet. And there's a brake hose. That needs to be hooked up to cool the brakes.
And a little further down the track as we see Earnhardt try to get his car going. And overdoes it there. Spins it all the way around and goes another lap down. And there's the car number 21 I was about to mention, Elliott Sadler. He's stalled there.
And a big weekend for the Wood brothers. They are in their 1,000th race. It all began back in the 50s when Glenwood began the racing for the Wood brothers. And when he started back then, his car was red. And that's why Elliott's is painted red this weekend.
Car number 77 was also involved in this, Bob, as we see them push the sit-go forward. And Robert Presley, who had a very good run going here today, but you see is taking it behind the wall and see a lot of damage to his car.
Wow, it's tough, Fred.
Come back and look at the replays now from Rick Mass on board.
Well, Wesley Wallace gets in the side of his brother.
Yep, he got his left wheels down on the curbing. It looked like bounced right up into him.
It looks like the 77 car might have run into Bobby Hamilton and caused his damage.
That was just a chain reaction type of a situation.
Mark Martin had to take evasive action to avoid hitting Hamilton. This is Rusty. And there's the contact.
Brother, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. behind the wall of the Budweiser Chevy as they'll make repairs there on the left front.
Mark Martin has made numerous pit stops during this caution. Let's go down to pits and Jerry.
Heavy damage on the front of the Jasper engines forward. They're going to take the battery-operated saws and try to cut the hood off. And Robert Presley still sitting in the car. Robert, what happened?
Just come off corner. I don't know what happened up there in front of us. Seen everybody driving the brakes. I went to hit mine, and 11 car got us from behind and just drove us into the 4, and I don't know what happened after that.
How bad's it look to you?
Well, I think the biggest thing's radiator just lost all the water out of it, so go hurry up, maybe be a little long caution, won't lose over 4 or 5 laps.
Okay, Robert Presley staying in the car. They're working meanwhile to try to get that radiator out. Pretty significant crunch in the right front. Bill Weber?
Kenny Wallace making his 3rd trip to pit road. He has fresh left sides. Now he brought him back in to put on the rights. They had to get the right side tires around the car before he could leave. They do that. He needs the pace car out.
So Kenny Wallace has stayed on the lead lap.
Yeah, sure has.
The 4 cars also stayed on the lead lap.
That
incident happened right ahead of the points leader, right behind.
Right in the area where he was running. Yeah, there's Bobby looking back at it. He said, man, look back in his mirror and said, I'm glad I was in front of that instead of behind it.
Jarrett not as fortunate. Will ride with him. Oh, he bumped Brett Bodine pretty well. John Kernes with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Well, Dale, a tough day, made even tougher for you there, racing back to the line.
Yeah. I saw the leader slowing up, so I thought we might have a chance. And Sterling was right in the middle of the track, so I tried to stop to keep him hitting him. And the guy behind me, I think, was a lap car, just come up over the top of the left rear. But it's fun. I mean, it's a great racetrack, a lot of fun to beat Bang on. And this kind of stuff is going to happen. Just wish we pushed real bad at the start of the race and blew the left or the right front tire out.
All right, back upstairs.
As we are set to go back to racing once again now.
Get ready. Green.
for the past several times when we've gone back to green, we've seen that 16 car up there. He, however, did get his lap back, and so Kevin LePage is on the lead lap in 29th position. It's Stewart, Gordon, and Rudd up front.
Tony Stewart's liking this not pitted. He might not pit the rest of the day.
More today, huh?
Well, he went out of gas before the day, but he's able to stay out there with those tires that has 40 more laps on it than the cars behind him. And remember, the 24 car only took 2 tires, so this left side tire has the same amount of laps that Stewart's has.
Dale Earnhardt, the Goodwrench Chevrolet, and I think it seems like all day long, after 30 or 40 laps after a restart, Dale Earnhardt seems to be one of the fastest cars out there.
Here's Burton trying to make that pass on the outside of Ricky Rudd one more time. We saw that a little bit earlier. See if he can make it stick this time. Rudd sort of glued there behind Gordon, has nowhere to go, but Burton might make it work this time. Well, he knows he has a good, clean driver on the inside of him there in Ricky Rudd. Ricky's not going to run in there and push him out to the wall.
Quite a battle going on here between those two, and boy, Jeff has done well, but still cannot complete the pass up there on the outside line.
He'll get on the outside of Jeff Gordon like right now and use him as a pick on Ricky Rudd.
Yeah, he's had Rudd pinched down behind Gordon there, and Rudd can't do everything that his car is capable of doing.
See, that's the difference in 2 tires and 4 tires. It's a slow process, and here comes Earnhardt. Play with these guys.
And Sterling Marlin still running strong without those exhaust pipes. Since that shouldn't hurt him as far as the running or the handling of the car is concerned.
Well, Burton passes both Rudd and Gordon, and Jeff Burton is now in second spot. And Ricky Rudd will try to use the outside line himself now and pass Jeff Gordon.
And he does. Now Earnhardt says, well, they did that. Let me try it.
Monkey see, monkey do. Yeah, well, maybe not monkey.
They've got to protect Sterling Marlin there from getting up there. So.
And Jeff Burton looked on the outside of Tony Stewart down at 3.
Meanwhile, back here, Sterling Marlin takes a look to the inside of Earnhardt, but now Earnhardt's got the line down low on Gordon.
Up the racetrack,
and Jeff Burton now is up high, trying to take the lead away from Tony Stewart. He passed several cars up there, and we'll see if he can do it now. Remember, Tony Stewart has some much older tires. His car slides off the corner, and Jeff Burton is go down into turn number 1, has almost completed the pass, and now he has. Ricky Rudd trying to go to second spot. And so we have our third leader of the afternoon here in Martinsville, as Jeff Burton has taken the Exide Ford to the number 1 position. Stewart has led 152 laps, Rusty Wallace 53, and now Jeff Burton is at the front of the field. Back with more in a moment from Martinsville. When you left us, we had just had our third driver at the front of the field. Now we have our 4th. Ricky Rudd has taken the lead from Jeff Burton, and Rudd is up front now. Here's how it happened.
Just gets down on the inside, coming off of turn 2, and just motors right on by. I guess good traction, and away he went.
Now we look back. Tony Stewart is under fire from Mike Skinner, a battle for the 5th position. Tony Stewart is now back to 6th and about to lose that to Jeff Gordon. So those tires that have 40 extra laps on them are really starting to show on the Home Depot Pontiac.
Yeah, he's got about 100 laps on those tires now. The others have about 60. So
normally we show you the serial on a driver who's moving up. In this case, because of those worn tires, Tony Stewart is moving back from 1st to 7th in a short amount of time. Lap 195 to lap 214. And now here comes Bobby Labonte up, and he takes the 7th position.
he didn't fight him too much. He didn't let him move right on by. Although he had certainly given the others plenty of room to pass when they came up to him.
Stewart would like to see a caution right now to allow himself to get in there and get some new rubber.
Yeah, before he goes any farther back. I mean, you know, even for the caution, he's still going to not come out in the lead where he was when they chose to make that decision. So that's going to wind up costing him big time track position.
Here's Kenny Schrader, also Rick Mast, and Rusty Wallace. Now the 36 and the 2 are battling for position.
And Rusty Wallace, for some reason right now, is really struggling. I mean, we'd expect him, as good as he runs this racetrack, to go forward. He's maintaining. He's going backwards, if anything.
But he only took 2 tires on that last stop. So that, I'm sure, had something to do with it, Jerry.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. They took only 2 right-side tires. They put wedge in the car, but they had running it back in about 19th to 20th spot. Although he gained 9 spots on that pit stop with 2 tires, and 2 tires obviously not paying off now because he's not able to grip the racetrack at all.
As you watch, the RPMs are not going quite as high as they did before, and that's because he's running slower times on the racetrack.
And the speed also not nearly what it was, only up at about 114 miles an hour.
We saw about 9,100 before on RPMs. That time, all I saw was 8,700. To watch again, I saw 9,000 for just a second.
So Rusty is back in 21st position now.
Ricky Craven in front of Rusty Wallace, who passed him just a couple of laps ago, and now he's under some heat from Dave Blaney. And Tony Stewart lost another spot as Jimmy Spencer, the big Kmart number 26, drove by him the last lap. Good run for Spencer today. He's in the 8th position.
There's a 10th place car of John Andretti. Bobby Hamilton and Ted Musgrave are racing together for the 27th position.
Before was up in the top 10 there for a long, long time, but he, of course, got caught up in that altercation coming off turn 4, had to make a pit stop, spun around. As a matter of fact, you see some damage on the left rear of his Chevrolet.
Remember, we talked about Kevin LePage, how he got his lap back, and now he has worked himself up to the 26th position. And Darrell Waltrip there in his final appearance here at Martinsville is still on the lead lap in the 25th position. This is Waltrip's 52nd start here at Martinsville. 11 wins at this facility. 8 pole positions, the best among the active drivers. Todd Bodine will drive the 66 car in NASCAR Winston Cup competition in the year 2000. This is only the 2nd time that Ricky Rudd has led here at Martinsville in the last 17 appearances. His most recent time up front was when he won here 2 years ago. On that day, he led 198 laps. Mike Skinner in 5th. Jeff Gordon in 6th. About 5 seconds behind the leader. only about 21 more laps to go before we reach the halfway point of this NAPA Autocare 500. And the interval is 1.2 seconds. That's the lead that Ricky Rudd has over Jeff Burton. Running third is Dale Earnhardt. Sterling Marlin is fourth. Mike Skinner running in fifth. Chesapeake, Virginia's Ricky Rudd leads at Martinsville, Virginia, as we are now completing 236 laps, going a lap down there. Mike Bliss in the number 27 car. But Ricky Rudd's advantage now over Jeff Burton is 1 3/4 seconds.
Just put a lap on the 27 car there. Mike Bliss, who is 31st position. There's the second place car, of course, Jeff Burton. And while we're away on break, the car 77 of Robert Presley did come back into action. At the same time, Wally Dallenbach was pulling his car behind the wall. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. now, well, he makes an effort to come back out. He's staying with pit road. Now he's going to come back out. But he's about 56 laps down.
And Presley is 41 laps down as he returns to competition.
Oh, now Ricky Rudd up behind Kenny Wallace, trying to put the Square D Chevrolet a lap down. Kevin LePage, the 16, FamilyClick.com, Michael Walter, all these cars going to be racing pretty hard.
Well, Kenny Wallace is racing with LePage for the 29th position, but meanwhile, Rudd splits the two.
Well, Kenny Wallace was running up there in the top 10 until he got spun out, and now had to make pit stops and go to the back of the pack, and now is getting lapped.
So you think Bobby is struggling a little bit, Humphrey P?
Yeah, it looks like he is right now. I don't know, Jerry, is he struggling right now?
Well, Benny, actually he is. He just radioed a moment ago, so this set of tires isn't nearly as good as what he had on before. The car doesn't want to roll very freely through the corners, so he's got to be very, very careful. And Jimmy said, remember our plan. Talking about Jimmy Maycar's crew, he said, remember our plan. Right now, most concerned is keeping the nose on the car and keeping the fenders on it. Stay where you are. So Bobby running a conservative 8th right now, but as you said, the car not as good as it was earlier in the afternoon.
Got his teammate right behind him as we look back from the Circuit City onboard camera.
And right in front of him is Jeff Gordon, and Bobby's about to try to pass him. So you wonder if Bobby's struggling, Gordon's struggling even more.
Yep.
I guess those two tires that Jeff Gordon changed is starting to haunt him, just like Tony Stewart not changing at all.
Yep.
Bill has an update on Stewart as the caution comes out for Dave Blaney. Well, no caution yet, but
it's out.
It is now. Bill?
This could be a big break for Tony Stewart. He was only about 23 laps from having to pit for fuel because he didn't pit earlier. This should open the window for him. He'll come get those tires he so desperately wants, but so will everybody else.
Well-timed caution. Dave Blaney has the car going once again, so this may not be a lengthy caution, but it will allow Tony and a lot of others to get a very needed pit stop.
Yeah, I think you'll see all of them come in now, Bob. They can't afford not to. They saw what has happened to Tony Stewart, so they're going to come in.
It was an ill-timed caution flag for Kenny Wallace just being lapped a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, that was too bad for him.
All right, here they come down, led by Rudd. Jimmy Spencer is going to be among the first to hit his pit box. Here's John.
And John Andretti told his crew chief Greg Stedman that the car was just a little free off, so they've opted just to change all 4 tires. Already working on the left side to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And Jeff Burton says to Frankie Stoddard, leave it alone. Don't change a thing. 4 tires, 1 can of fuel, clean the windshield. That's all. Bill Weber?
4 tires, fuel, no changes for Rudd. Last 2 stops have been 14 seconds and change. Earnhardt is right in front of him. Rudd's away, but he's going to lose several spots. The 99, the 3, to the 31, and the 28 beat him out.
99, 3, 31, 28, 18, 26, 20 as they come off pit road. Steve Park lighting up the tires as he peels away from his pit box. There is LePage. Here comes Schrader.
And LePage was able to get back on the lead lap on that caution flag.
So we're less than 5 laps away now from the halfway point of the NAPA Autocare 500 at Martinsville. they line up for a restart next time around, and we'll get the green and back to competition at the NAPA Autocare 500. Now watch the rear tire changer on the 28 car coming around.
When they let the car down, the hose was stuck under the right rear wheel. He finally jerks it out, but it cost him 2 or 3 seconds, and 2 or 3 seconds is a lot of spots anymore on a pit stop.
Yeah, he came out in fourth.
We're going to get the green on lap 250.
Ready. Green.
So next time around, we will have the halfway point. Robert Presley trying to get a lap back. One of his 40 laps back.
By the way, before we went to break, I said that Kevin LePage has got back on the lead lap. Well, he had, but NASCAR said, no, you really didn't. You passed him after he wasn't supposed to, as Presley almost slid in the side of Jeff Burton. So NASCAR took the lap back. So he now is in the 32nd position, 1 lap down.
There are 27 cars still on the lead lap. Rusty Wallace is the last of those because he came back down pit road just a lap before the green came out. They adjusted on the shock absorber.
And here at the halfway mark, it is Jeff Burton leading the race, but only 8 times in the 27 previous events this year has the leader at the halfway point gone on to win the race.
Let's watch Mike Skinner. This is the foot cam on the low Chevrolet. Right foot on the accelerator. Okay, I'm sorry. You see the on the foot, back on the accelerator with the left side of your screen. Watch him tap those brakes, get them ready. Now, off the brake. See this there? I think that is something in case the throttle were to hang, that he could jerk it up and unhang the throttle. I haven't seen that before. That's a nice little piece.
As you can see, in the lower corner of your screen there, it's got a strong spring on that accelerator that lifts it back up. That stronger spring is what they used to run on these cars.
He's on the brakes for a long time now. Off the brakes, back on the accelerator.
Skinner running back in third, about 1.9 seconds behind, under fire from Rudd.
See the 21 car, the Citgo car of Elliott Sadler in front of these guys. They're going to have a press conference on Wednesday to announce their plans for next year.
On board with Mark Martin.
Back in the 20th position. The Joe Nemechek car is in 21st and Steve Park in 22nd. And then the 01 car and Darrell Waltrip and 36. All those cars in a big wad back there.
There's Matt Kenseth, who had problems early, involved in an incident, 51 laps down in 38. Ted Musgrave, who is running 23rd.
That's the one car of Steve Park.
Yep, and move to 22nd. Ken Schrader and Rusty Wallace behind. So although Rusty led early and racked up 152 more laps at the front, things have not gone well for him. He's back in 25th position.
Well, he's passed 2 cars since they restarted. Michael Waltrip and Darrell Waltrip. Because he was 27 on the restart. And trying to pass Kenny Schrader. Kevin LePage got a little close there.
Rudd, Bobby Labonte running close together in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So remember now, Bobby Labonte, all he has to do is finish 6th or better in the remaining races, and he will automatically win the championship. And right now, he is running in the 5th position.
He's running about 7th before the last round of pit stops, and lo and behold, Bobby Labonte gains some spots in the pit.
One more time. How many times have we seen that this year? Boy, I'll tell you, that pit crew has certainly done their part in trying to help him win the championship.
They have been fantastic this year. There's no doubt about that.
Takes the whole package. You got to have that. Good race car, good pit strategy, consistency.
Will he be the featured guest on the stage at the Waldorf Astoria in December, when we will bring you for the final time the NASCAR Winston Cup Awards ceremony? Well, we still have a few more races before we can answer that question.
But his chances are pretty good.
Looking pretty good right now.
Yes.
Talking to the engine builder on the 18 car this morning and asked him if they used a rev limiter on the car. And he said they subscribe to the Junior Johnson theory. Why put something on your car that slows it down?
On board with the 88 car of Dale Jarrett, who is right behind Jeff Gordon.
Just took 11th away from Bobby Hamilton a couple laps ago. Stay on that gas too long. They have to back her down and get in that corner.
Dale Jarrett has 6 top 5s and 12 top 10s here at Martinsville, but he has finished 12th or worst in 5 of his last 9 races.
He looks on the inside, but
and Joe Nemechek, and we see Ricky Rudd on the inside of Mike Skinner, battle for the 3rd position, takes it away.
Well, that's another car being in the 28th that seems after they run about 10 laps on those tires that it really comes in. But Rick is a very patient race driver, and he's now about 3.5 seconds behind.
Ted Musgrave comes up to pressure the number 6 car of Mark Martin for 21st. Joe Nemechek just up ahead as he tries to pass Mike Bliss. Bliss a lap down. Nemechek running 20th.
Tony Stewart's car slowed all of a sudden coming off of turn 2. I don't know if he slipped or what happened, but
he got in the back of Jimmy Spencer and almost spun Spencer, and he backed off to let Spencer get it back under control.
Okay.
Almost a 2.5-second advantage now for Jeff Burton over Dale Earnhardt. Running 3rd is Ricky Rudd. In 4th place is Mike Skinner, and Bobby Labonte has the 5th position with 272 laps completed. We're back at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, and we are 278 laps into the 500-lap NAPA Autocare 500 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Jeff Burton with about a 1.5 seconds advantage, actually a 1 1/3 now advantage on Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt seems to be closing the gap just a little bit. He was about a half mile per hour faster the last lap than Jeff Burton. Tony Stewart there in the Home Depot Pontiac trying to get back to the front. Jimmy Spencer, oh! I thought he was going to run in the back of the 55 car talking about Spencer, but did not. And Bobby Hamilton is off the pace. The Kodak Film Chevrolet is slow. Oh, and the wheel comes off.
Wow.
Wow, thank goodness for that wheel fence, and now it's coming down towards the pits.
And everybody in the pit area scattering. It's going to come over and hit one of the vans.
Yep, somebody who thought they had that good parking place down there in the pit area is going to find a dent in their vehicle.
Wow, that could have been a serious situation. Anyway, this is the caution flag now out again. as Hamilton there on the right side of your screen comes in for the pit stop.
Minus the right front wheel.
Yep. Caution coming out on lap 283, the 9th caution of the afternoon. Here's a replay of what happened up in turn number 2.
There we see Hamilton slow, and about just about the time the 11 car gets by, the wheel leaves. And watch this bounce, and luckily Kyle Petty did not hit it and knock it even farther.
Down to John Kernan.
Dale Jarrett's in for 4 tires, no changes on the car. Sterling Marlin is already away after changing only right side tires. Left's coming off of DJ's car. They'll tighten the lug nuts. Send him on his way. See if he can pick up a few spots to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Once again, not a single change at all for Jeff Burton's Exide Ford. 4 tires, full of fuel, clean the windshield, clean the grill. A little bit of debris, a little bit of a scrape on the left side. Let's check in with Bill.
Right sides are on for Earnhardt. They scraped the grill. Left's going on. Waiting on the left rear. He's down. Look out for the 28, the 10, and a big gem up on pit road.
Oh, man.
Did the 18 car make contact with it? 25. It looks like he might have.
He stopped there.
Oh, yes, he's got significant damage in the right front. Bill Weber.
Well, they got all jammed up down here. When Earnhardt tried to pull out, it wasn't anybody's fault. It's just the design of pit road. And then Bobby Labonte had to put on the brakes, ran right into the car in front of him. He's got right front damage. He'll have to come to pit road. The crew will have to look that over.
Man, and the area that the brake ducts are located as well, he might have bent those. There we see a hose that's hanging down. That is bad news for Bobby Labonte.
Sure is.
You ever see the cars leaving pit roads? There comes Jeff Burton, the 10 car. Earnhardt just completes his, and there they start stopping. The 25 runs in the back of the 31, and Bobby Labonte runs in the back of 25. What's the 25?
Ooh, that was a pretty good lick.
And by the same token, Bobby took a lick. Jerry?
Jimmy Maycar, this Interstate Batteries crew, very calm, very composed. They realize all they got to do is cut the front of that fender off, but they got to make sure they do not lose a lap in the pits. Spotter, very, very critical. Leaders in turn 3, they're sawing, trying to get the fender off. Get the right front fender away from the tire. Leaders in turn 4, got to have to hustle. Do not speed. They say 4,500 RPM second gear, and Bobby Labonte is away. The leaders at the start-finish line.
He'll make it easily and stay on the lead lap, but a significant setback here for Bobby Labonte, chasing his first NASCAR Winston Cup championship. We'll be going green next time around here at Martinsville. Well, Sunday Night Football tonight has a good one for you. 8:30 Eastern. It's the Atlanta Falcons against the Philadelphia Eagles. Donovan McNabb has thrown 4 touchdowns and ran for 2 this season. It all begins with the NFL primetime at 7:30, presented by Miller Lite. Sunday Night Football, ESPN and ABC, your exclusive home for primetime NFL football. Jerry?
You saw Bobby Labonte come in and they cut the right front fender away. While we were in commercial a moment ago, he came back in to change right side tires. I didn't want to take any chances. Now, the reason they didn't want to take any chances, take a look at this right front tire. The fender had gouged it out. That second pit stop is the kind of stop that could have saved the championship. Back to the green flag.
Sterling Marlin was 6th before the caution. He led 22 laps here last September and finished in 11th. Right now, Marlin is the leader of the race.
I think John Kernan said he only changed right sides during that stop. Let's see how that works out.
I expect he'll be okay for a little while until those rights get heated up.
By the way, Bobby Labonte is brought back to the last car on the lead lap in 26th.
All of his challengers are ahead of him right now, those that he's been battle for points.
Listening to Dave Blaney's spotter.
A little contact between the 99 and 93 as 99 comes.
trouble here is the spin. 21 car. Now the caution is out. The car, Elliott Sadler tried to get his car going, but couldn't.
And Blaney is not going to be able to get his lap back as Marlin takes the caution flag.
I think the 21 car is hung on the curb down there. I don't believe he can move.
Yeah, I think you're right, Benny. Don't have traction on the rear wheels.
Yeah, I think that it's resting on the curb there. And
Elliott Sadler will not give the Wood brothers their third win here at Martinsville today. Their previous winners here were David Pearson back in 1973 and Cale Yarborough in 1968 as they do celebrate their 1,000th NASCAR Winston Cup race. We're nearing the 300 lap mark. 295 complete. We'll jump on board with Rick Mast and take a look at this incident.
He's already up ahead of him. He's already down there on the inside. Spun out of everybody's way.
So they're going to have to get Elliott's car off of that curb area. So we'll take a break. At lap 295, Sterling Marlin leads. From a high overhead Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, we welcome you back to live coverage of the NAPA Autocare 500. Coming up next at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, it's the PGA Buick Challenge from Callaway Gardens Resort Mountain View Course in Pine Mountain, Georgia.
I've been there. I've played that golf course.
Yeah?
Not as well as they're playing it.
Okay, Sterling Marlin has the lead. Burton is second. Then Earnhardt, Rudd, Benson, Stewart, Labonte, Skinner, Gordon, and Jimmy Spencer, the top 10. Now we have 26 cars currently on the lead lap. We are about to go back to green, and when they take the green, it'll be on lap number 300 at the conclusion of lap 299.
And you see Bobby Labonte, the NASCAR Winston Cup points leader, back in 25th position after an unscheduled pit stop.
Here's the rest. Hut Strickland and Ward Burton officially out of the race, and Bobby Hamilton's car is off the racetrack. John Kernan.
Hey guys, here's something new and improved. Well, maybe not improved, but new down here at Martinsville, at least for me in the nearly 20 years I've been coming here. The 4 car lost the wheel, the right front. Guess why? The studs broke. All 5 of them. I mean, that's a new one for me here, Benny. What about you?
That causes by the wheel being loose, John. The wheel is a little bit loose. It wobbles around on those studs, and it will shear them off. I've seen it before.
Here's the green. We are back to competition.
Oh, Blaney dived in there. And the 12 car gets in the back of him. He nailed it, and we got a mess.
Keep going. Get her going. Get her fired up. Fire out. Turn on the bottom on her, guys.
Now, but there's no caution. If the 93 can get moving, and he does, no caution.
Caution. No caution. Let's go. No caution.
Salabani gets through okay. So Marlin maintains the advantage now. Jeff Burton second. Here comes Earnhardt. We'll take a look at it once again as Dave Blaney tried but failed.
He wanted to get that lap back. He wanted that position. He dove in there, but he realized Sterling was going down. He tried to jump out of it, and he jumped on the brakes so hard that he spun the Amico Pontiac out.
I tell you, he was fortunate, so were a lot of other people, that happened right at the head of the field, and for him to be the only one that spun around. A lot of sheet metal bent up on some other cars back there as they sort of jammed up.
Sterling Marlin has led 19 laps so far, but he is under fire from Jeff Burton, who has led 41 here this afternoon.
Yeah, he just can't keep the cars low on the racetrack. I don't think he'd like to. He gets a good run off the corner, but see in the middle, he drifts up the racetrack a little bit.
Sterling's best finish here at Martinsville is second. He's done that on 2 different occasions, most recently in April of 1992.
Burton now is going to try to get that run.
Yep. Sterling last won a NASCAR Winston Cup race At the Pepsi 400 in Daytona, July of '96. Now Burton has good position on the inside as they head for turn number 3. And it looks like that he will be able to retake the top spot.
That move didn't work off turn 4, Bob. He was not able to pass Sterling Marlin, but at least it made Sterling Marlin think that he could, and he drove the car down in turn 1 a little bit too hard. And when he got in there, realized he was going too fast. He had no choice but to let the car slide up the racetrack. And when he did, Burton was there to seize the opportunity.
There is Dale Earnhardt, lurking about 3/4 of a second behind the leader. He's being pursued by Rudd.
Benson's a 5th place car, but those 2 tires he took on is let the 4th front in front of him pull away a little bit.
7 times Dale Earnhardt has visited victory lane here at Martinsville. Won this race 5 years ago. Some point positions have changed as we show you a NAPA field summary and the points as of now. At the moment, the interval between Bobby Labonte and Dale Earnhardt is just 181. As Bobby Labonte is back in the 22nd position with a damaged race car.
Now all of a sudden, Terry Labonte, the Kellogg Chevrolet number 5 in 7th position. Labonte started 38th today.
Just haven't seen much of him. Here's Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd side by side as Rudd tries to make that pass on the outside. Looks like he might be able to complete it. He does. But talking about Terry Labonte, boy, he's sneaky. Got himself top 10 going right now. Now Rudd got to try to zero in on the 40 car of Sterling Marlin.
To count only the last 6 races in this Winston Cup season, Ricky Rudd would be 2nd in the point standings. Only Bobby Labonte has outscored him in the past 6 races. And another excellent run by Johnny Benson. Talk about a team that has really come on here in the last few races. Benson is up to 14th in the point standings. He finished 2nd, his career best finish at Dover last weekend. He finished 11th in New Hampshire, 7th in Richmond, 5th at Michigan not too long ago. This team has really put it together.
And they made the choice to put on 2 tires on that last pit stop just to change right side tires. Here's Ricky Rudd going for 2nd. And we were talking about Johnny Benson. He was about to lose. In fact, he just did lose 5th place to the 20 car of Tony Stewart.
All right, you see Ricky Rudd come by. He's a 2nd and a quarter behind Jeff Burton, the X-Side Ford that's leading the race. We'll watch it for a couple laps and see if Ricky Rudd might be gaining.
And Brett Bodine, who's had such a good run going here today, stayed on the lead lap, was in the top 10 much of the time, comes into the pits for an unscheduled pit stop. We hear that maybe something in the rear gearing perhaps on his car.
It was here at Martinsville that Brett participated in his first professional race in the modified series in the spring of '79. Brett Bodine currently on pit road as Jeff Burton leads the NAPA Autocare 500. ESPN's live coverage of the NAPA Autocare 500 from Martinsville is being brought to you by Budweiser with a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. By Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. And by Team Monte Carlo, the cars more champions depend on. Chevy will be there. Right now it is Jeff Burton who leads, but look how close Ricky Rudd has gotten in the last few laps.
Well, I told you there was a 2nd and a quarter difference in first and second one. It's now down to less than a half second.
Here is Mike Skinner trying to pick up position as he goes to the inside of Johnny Benson, and this would be for the 6th spot.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cars back there that's coming along too. That I'm afraid those 2 tires that Johnny took on is beginning to pay the price for that.
Jerry, what's the problem with Brett Bodine?
Bob, remember early on when he got in the back of the 77 car, Robert Presley, well, apparently the radiator got a little nick in it and it began to leak, and they had to come in and change the radiator. They've been sitting behind the wall for now less than 4 minutes, and they had the old radiator out, the new one in. They're going to put water in it, so they'll be able to get back out in probably less than about 6.5 minutes. Great job by Mike Hillman and the crew to get Brett Bodine back out.
That's too bad. He had one of the better runs of the year going for himself. And here's Steve Park taking the position from John Andretti.
That would be for the 15th spot. Steve Park goes to 15th.
At point leader, Bobby Labonte still back in 19th as he just joined us. See the damage on the right front of the Interstate Batteries Pontiac. That happened on pit road during the last pit stop.
17th, 18th, and 19th here. Schrader, Martin, and Labonte. Martin, a 2-time winner here at Martinsville, and the defending champion, won the race here in April of this year. Labonte moves up one.
Yeah, he's picked up a number of positions. He came out in the 25th position, and so he's picking up a few. He's 18th now.
Dale Jarrett trying to get himself into the top 10, and he will do that if he can pass Terry Labonte.
Well, we saw Terry a little bit ago was running in 7th position, and I think he's fallen victim to the same thing that Johnny Benson, the fact that he only took on 2 tires during that last stop, and that's beginning to haunt him a little bit.
Terry Labonte back to 11th now, and Jerry Nadeau will try to pass him. Well, the leaders are involved in a whole bunch of traffic. Now look at Ricky Rudd as he is right up on the rear spoiler of the 99 car.
He's right there. Let's go down to Bill Weber.
Well, it's been a great day down here for the 28 team. They had one bad pit stop, but they made up for it on the next one. Raymond Fox is the car chief for Ricky Rudd. Michael McSwain is the crew chief. All day long, Fox on the left has been calling out the lap times to Rudd. But on lap 316, McSwain said to him, "I'll call it this time." He got on the radio, gave Rudd the lap time, and said, "It's time to let the dog out. Let's go." And that's when Rudd started charging onto Burton's bumper.
Well, he's about to turn that dog loose, it looks like, because he's right there in position. One little slip, and he'll be back in the lead.
Ooh, Rusty Wallace rubbing fenders with the 01 of Ted Musgrave, and Ricky Craven is right there. He's still on the lead lap, doing a nice job. And Darrell Waltrip is too. Right behind him is 45, Kyle Petty.
All of those cars on the lead lap, battling for position.
Oh, Ricky Craven almost gets in the rear bumper of the Miller Lite Ford. Rusty just can't keep his car down on the bottom of the racetrack.
All of this from the Pennzoil Copter Cam. You remember yesterday in happy hour, we did it live here at Martinsville, and Ricky Craven, who was the only driver to, as Tony Stewart goes to 4th, passing Dale Earnhardt. Craven was the only driver to successfully qualify in 2nd round, and therefore only participated in about 15 minutes of happy hour. He ended up as the fastest, and here he is, not looking too bad during the race as he's battling Rusty for 20th and taking it.
And remember, he got spun out back early in the race and stayed on the lead lap, doing a great job.
That Raymond Fox that Bill Weber was talking about a moment ago is a 3rd-generation mechanic. His grandfather, Ray Fox, at the garage down in Daytona Beach. Very famous car owner and builder, and then his father, Ray Fox, Raymond, was Ray Jr. Was an engine builder with the 2018 with Robert Yates.
Johnny Benson, as Ned has said many times in the last few minutes, is struggling, continuing to lose positions, and now Jerry Nadeau is trying to work himself into the top 10. He's got a little bit of damage there in the left rear, but Nadeau having a good run.
Folks, if you look at the left rear on Nadeau's car, it will resemble the right front on the 18 car. That's where they made contact.
Jimmy Spencer running alongside of Mike Skinner, and Spencer taking over the 6th spot.
Spencer, one of his better runs this year.
His best finish here at Martinsville came in this race in '93, finished 3rd.
Leader running into traffic. Here's Kyle Petty, the last car on the lead lap. He's running in 24th place. Burton comes up on the outside, and looks like he'll be able to make that pass. There's Darrell Waltrip and Ted Musgrave. All of these cars we were talking about, they're battling for position. That is 22nd and 23rd. Battling for position, Darrell Waltrip and Ted Musgrave. Man, would they like to see a caution right now? They don't want to be it, but there's a reason for it. They'd love to see a caution so they can stay on the lead lap. And Jeff Burton looks up in his rearview mirror and sees that 28 coming up there and says, man, I need to get by these guys.
Kind of hard to do when they run along side by side.
Yeah.
Now they get in line, which allows them to get on the inside of Musgrave. Ricky Russell, I wonder if Musgrave would outrun it through the corner. No, it didn't work, Ricky.
Jeff Burton under the direction of Frankie Stoddard and crew leading the NAPA Autocare 500 here at Martinsville. Rudd a close second. Bobby Labonte from Corpus Christi, Texas, had problems on lap 284. Coming out of the pits, watch him rear end the number 25 car of Jerry Nadeau, suffering extensive damage on the right front of that car. When he got back in line and retook the green flag, he was in 26th position. He did make a couple of pit stops to get that damage somewhat corrected, but now here are where the top 6 in points are running. Labonte back in 17th after restarting 26th. Jeff Burton 4th in the points is the leader of the race. But Rudd is a close second, and Rusty Wallace, who led 152 laps, make that 53 laps. Wallace led 53 laps, is about to go a lap down.
He is in 21st position. Kyle Petty had a flat tire and came into the pits under the green flag, so he lost, looks like about 3 laps.
We have had 6 different leaders in this race. Stewart has led the most, 152, then Burton 90, Wallace 53, Rudd 37. Sterling Marlin has led 21, and Michael Waltrip led a lap.
And Tony Stewart has moved by Sterling Marlin to take over that 3rd spot. And he is closing in on the leader. Check it out. 5 laps, he went from 3.3 seconds to 2.7 seconds. Isn't much, but he's got plenty of time still for Tony Stewart to run Jeff Burton down.
And here's the battle for 8th position.
Whoops, car spot right in front of him there. That's Kenny Wallace. Caution to lap.
So the caution waves once again. This is the 11th caution of the afternoon.
And Rusty Wallace might have beaten Jeff Burton back to the line. We'll have to wait and see how NASCAR calls that. Darrell Waltrip was also trying to beat the 99 car back.
Well, this will give those pit crews an opportunity to shine again, because they'll all come into the pits, and Bobby Labonte has been making up positions in the pits. He needs to do that now.
Well, here they come down pit road. Burton, Rudd, Stewart, and others. Here's John Kernan.
And Sterling Marlin is in. Last time he changed right side only. This time it'll be a 4-tire change. Pretty happy with the car, making no chassis adjustments, no air pressure adjustment. Down and away to Jerry Punch.
No changes for Jeff Burton. They are within their window. If we stay green, they don't have to stop again. They can go all the way to the checkered flag. Left side tire is going on. Over to you, Bill.
You need to have a quick pit stop here so you can beat the traffic out. Rudd has the right sides on. The lefts are coming on. And that is heading out. Look out! Around the 3. He dodges a bullet and they get out.
Man, it is so tight there on pit road. Here is Bobby Labonte. We'll see where he comes out and see if he picked up any positions.
I don't think he did, so I'll bet not. Not many, if any.
Comes out just ahead of Mark Martin. This is why we are under caution. Watch up at the top of your screen, and here is Kenny Wallace sideways.
Spins around and doesn't hit the inside wall too hard.
But enough for a caution, and while we're under reduced speed, we'll take another break. Can be right back. We remain under caution here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Now, the 20 car of Tony Stewart has been moved ahead of the 28. We question whether or not he did indeed beat Rudd off of pit road, so we went back and checked the tape, and here is the proof.
Looks just boy,
close.
Just barely.
Down to Bill Weber.
Okay, now listen to this. Tony Stewart's pit stop was 16.01. He has that first pit stall at the end, or the last pit stall, depending on how you look at it, but the closest one to pit exit. His stop was 16.01. Rudd's stop was 15.43, so he had a quicker stop. But remember, he had to inch his way around Earnhardt's rear corner to get out of his pit stall. That's what cost him precious time on pit road, and that's how the 20 beat him out, won the race off of pit road. By the way, Dale Earnhardt's car on that last run, it's loose under throttle coming out of the turn. So when he gets back in the gas, the rear end wants to slide out from underneath him. They have spring rubbers in both rear springs, but they don't want to take those out because it will take too long. They'll lose too much track position. On this most recent pit stop, they made an air pressure adjustment to see if that will help.
Well, Jeff Burton is the leader of the race. Now, Ricky Craven led one lap under this caution. Burton is very much in contention for the championship, and he is also in our spotlight.
As long as I can remember, this is what I wanted to do. I've never had a question about what I wanted to do for a living. The worst job I ever had was busting up concrete for my father. I enjoy construction, but when you don't know much about construction, they put you on the destruction side of things. So I got to bust up concrete and stuff like that, and that just wasn't for me. We weren't a racing family in the sense of the Pettys and the Waldrops, and Ward and I are the first people in our family to be in motorsports, so we really didn't. We watched racing, but we really didn't know a whole lot about it, to be honest. My father, my brothers, they were always guys that I looked up to. The only way that I can become better, and the only way that Frank can become better, and the only way that everybody in our team can become better is to look in the mirror and say, what can I do to help this team? Because it's not about me. It's not about the 99 car. It's about all of us together.
Well, he's not busting up concrete. He's burning up concrete today. Talk about being together. The last two pit stops for this team, 14.80 and 15.63. That's why they're up front, and they stay there.
Get ready. Ready, green, green, green.
132 laps to go.
So they can't make it the rest of the way from here, Bob. No question about that as far as fuel is concerned.
Jerry talked about the great pit stops the 99 car has had the last couple stops as well. Well, they welcome a new rear tire changer this week. Todd Foster came over from the 77 car, Robert Press's car, and he and Mark Armstrong changing tires, and both those guys doing a fantastic job today.
Dale Jarrett and Jeff Gordon continue to race side by side. That's the battle for the 7th position. Jarrett has it.
Oh, and Skinner gets in the back of this 24 car and just kind of knocks him up the racetrack, takes the spot away.
There is Sterling Marlin still running strong up there in the 6th spot behind Jimmy Spencer.
And that's amazing, Bob, that he lost those exhaust pipes. But as we pointed out, that perhaps won't hurt the performance of his car that much, especially on a track like this. But you wonder how much heat he's enduring there. Of course, it's a little bit cooler day today than normal here at Martinsville, so that will help him in that respect.
Michael Waltrip there in the 7 car. He is running back in 24th position, a lap down. Michael will leave this team next year and will be the 3rd car in the Dale Earnhardt stable. He will become teammates with Steve Hart and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Marlin just took the spot away from Spencer, moving up to 5th.
Yes, he did. Spencer's car seems to struggle a little bit on new tires. We've talked about some cars that seem to go better after they run about 8 or 10 laps. And Jimmy Spencer's in one of them. I noticed on other times when he has new tires on the car, it just simply won't go for 8 or 10 laps.
Talking about how Bobby Labonte's crew is picking him up spots. The last time on that last pit stop, Bobby Labonte came in the pit 17th and came out 19th. So you guys have to shape up down there. You lost a couple spots that time.
They probably worked some more on that front end damage up there, I would imagine. I don't know. But
he's been able to pick up one of those spots on the track. He's now up to 18th, passing Schrader, but it has not been a particularly good day for Bobby Labonte. Battle for 2nd as Tony Stewart and Ricky Rudd contest that position. Tony Stewart was our pole sitter here today. Rudd started back in 11th position. Ricky Rudd has recorded 6 straight top 10s this year. 3rd last week, 3rd at New Hampshire, 9th at Richmond, 8th at Darlington, 10th at Bristol, and 2nd at Michigan.
By the way, I'm told that Hutch Strickland is in the 12 car. Wonderful work replacing Jeremy Mayfield.
that car is being shown in 30th position, 2 laps down.
The flu bug has bitten Jeremy Mayfield, and so he has relinquished the driving duties to Hut Strickland, who was taken out earlier in a crash.
See that rear bumper waving in the breeze on the 2 car. I think Bobby Labonte just made contact with Rusty Wallace and ripped that rear bumper cover. Now Bobby Labonte's on the inside. Ooh. Can't quite make it.
Rusty, meanwhile, is trying to pass Casey Atwood. Now Labonte may have a more successful opportunity. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in the fence again and will drive away.
No caution. Caution. The flagman was motioning Earnhardt to stay down out of the way. The leader was coming by, and he did.
Wow, that was close. Jeff Burton, just when he got to the corner, he turned left, and I thought he would make contact with Junior there for a second.
Jeff Burton has left the battle for second position. He's lengthened his advantage to almost a second and a half. Spencer and Jarrett running 6th and 7th. just outside of the top 10, running 11th and 12th, Steve Park and Terry Labonte. John Andretti's right there also.
Bob, I don't think we have a situation after this pit stop where some took just 2 tires. I believe everybody took on 4 tires during that last pit stop.
Steve Park has had a very successful short track season in 2000. He finished 7th at Bristol, 25th here at Martinsville earlier in the year, but he had an 11th at Richmond, a 5th at Bristol, and a 4th at Richmond.
And right now is in jeopardy of losing the 11th position to Terry Labonte as we watch from our NAPA onboard camera.
Behind them is John Andretti, former winner here at Martinsville. That's all for position, all through those cars. Fighting for positions, 11, 12, and
13. 22 cars are on the lead lap. Terry Labonte has never won here at Martinsville, but he's finished second on 3 different occasions, most recently 4 years ago in this event. Side-by-side battle between Labonte and Park. And Terry will go into the 11th position. Jeff Burton with a 1.27 second advantage on Tony Stewart. Rudd is 3rd. Jeff Burton remains out front of the NAPA Autocare 500 at Martinsville, and his interval over Tony Stewart and Ricky Rudd has been pretty stable for the last few laps, just about 1.4 to a second and a half. Second and third get by the 75 car Wally Dallenbach, who spent many laps behind the wall. He's 75 laps down in 39th position.
He had a brake problem. Rudd moved up on Stewart there a few laps ago and attempted to try to pass him, but not able to, and now maybe losing a little bit of ground.
Second and third place cars. Meanwhile, there is your 4th place automobile. The 77 car is some laps down. There's the 5th place car, Sterling Marlowe.
'26 of Jimmy Spencer is running 6th, and Dale Jarrett in the 88 car is running in 7th position. They're about 6.2 seconds behind the leader.
Here's the 31 of Mike Skinner, the 24 of Jeff Gordon. They are in the 8th and 9th position.
And the 25 car, Jerry Nadeau, is in 10th. Jeff Gordon has been running almost like this for the last little while. Terry Labonte is in 11th. That one car is in 12th. That's Steve Park.
John Andretti, car number 43.
There is Andretti, who runs in 13th spot.
You see Kyle Petty in number 45. Of course, he had an unscheduled pit stop for a flat tire. He's 3 laps down in 30th position.
Joe Nemechek will be next, as we thought that Andretti might make a move, but he didn't. Here is Joe Nemechek running in the 14th spot. Continuing to watch this possible pass here.
think I've ever seen passes more contested at Martinsville than we have today. No one just lays over. They all, when someone pulls up and attempts to make a pass, they race them hard for 2 or 3 laps.
Here comes Steve Park as he cut to the inside of Terry Labonte coming off the second turn. And as they enter turn 3, he moves alongside. He is going to take away that position from Terry Labonte, so put Park up into 11th.
And here comes Andretti. He wants to look down on the inside.
Less than 100 laps to go now. 97 remain in the NAPA Autocare 500.
So just that quickly, Terry Labonte loses 2 spots. He's now back to 13th.
Pennzoil Copter Cam showing you the action. Now we'll go back and show you that Joe Nemechek is indeed in the 14th position in the 33 cars, right behind Kyle Petty there. And Bobby Labonte has picked up one more position recently. He passed Johnny Benson, so now Bobby Labonte is up to 15th.
He's also passed Bill Elliott, I think, since the last time we had seen the Interstate Batteries Pontiac.
75 car of Wally Dallenbach makes pit road. He was very slow down the backstretch.
Johnny Benson is back in the 16th position, the Aaron's Rent Pontiac.
And right behind him is Bill Elliott in the number 494, Gonzalez Ford. He is in 17th position.
You know, and Kenny never see the 7-car Michael Walton, the 93 of Dave Blaney. Both these cars are lapped. There's the car in the lead lap. Kenny Schrader in the 36 car and Mark Martin. These guys battle for positions back in 18th and 19th.
And right behind them is the 50 car of Ricky Craven, who stayed out and led a lap during the last caution, and then Rusty Wallace, the last car on the lead lap. Rusty's in 21st position. He just now went a lap down. Didn't hear the full scoreboard showing that.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
There is Ricky Craven, who will be the next car to go a lap down, maybe. Well, who would have thought that Ricky, or rather Rusty Wallace, after starting up in the front row and with the record that he has on short tracks in here in Martinsville, would struggle as much as he has today, but he is now indeed a lap down in the 21st spot. And the whole field passes by here as you see where your particular favorite is running on the racetrack.
See, Bobby Labonte's been able to get by his brother Terry. Picked up another position.
I'm sorry, Ricky Craven in the 50 car. Just about to go a lap down, and he does to Jeff Burton.
Jeff Burton's lead at the moment has put him up into second place in the point standings, but a lot more laps to go. And Jeff Burton is about to pass Tony Stewart for most laps led here this afternoon,
which would give him 5 more bonus points.
So it's Jeff Burton, Tony Stewart, Ricky Rudd, Dale Earnhardt, and Sterling Marlin in the top 5 at the NAPA Autocare 500 at Martinsville, Virginia, 413 laps down. Coming up next, in less than an hour, we'll take you to Pine Mountain, Georgia, in the Callaway Gardens Resort and Mountain View course to show you the PGA Buick Challenge. And we understand that Jeff Maggard is 19 under par and has a 1-stroke lead on David Duval. And you'll be able to see how things shake out at the Buick Challenge next here on ESPN. Burton is trying to work through some slower traffic. Up ahead is the 36 car of Kenny Schrader, who right now is on the lead lap in 19th position. Seems like that Spencer and Jarrett have been battling together for half a race. And a lap ago, here's what happened.
Well, they came up on the 9 car, and Jarrett went up on the outside. And
so did Spencer.
Yep. And Spencer really got loose, and DJ had to back off. But they did, and everything's okay.
More on Jarrett from John.
Bob, the car that Dale Jarrett is driving in today's race is chassis number 56. This is the 5th time it's appeared on the racetrack this year. It made its debut back at Martinsville in the spring. DJ started 28th there, came through traffic, wound up finishing in the 5th position. Same car here this weekend. He started 31st, and he's knocking on the door for another top 5 finish. In fact, in the 4 previous races with that car, the worst finish has been a 7th place. So I would say he probably likes that car a lot.
That 7th came at New Hampshire. Well, you got to compliment Bobby Labonte here on this gallant effort that he has made this afternoon. He has moved up another position, passing the 33 of Joe Nemechek, and now Bobby is up to 13th.
He's just picking them off one at a time. Won't surprise me to see him get back in the top 10, Jerry.
Guys, we watched what happened to Bobby Labonte on pit road when he got jumbled up in front of him in the 25 and he ran into the back of Jerry Nadeau. But Bobby's convinced that was his fault. He's apologized time and again on the radio to the crew and said, guys, I'm sorry, it was my fault. I should have stopped. I should have run into him. He said, you know what, guys? Where we finish today could have an impact on whether we win this championship or not. He's fighting for all it's worth to gain as many spots. He thinks in his mind that this race could have an impact on the championship. Who knows? There's 6 more to go, but he firmly believes he needs to get as many spots as he can.
And a battle here between John Andretti and Jerry Nadeau. That is for position the 11th spot.
Bobby Hamilton there in the yellow number 4 is 55 laps down.
And I've been watching this for the last 4 or 5 laps. And Jeff Burton, he's been alongside of him. 10 laps ago, he was in the same position. Just could not get by. Finally, he gets by Kenny Schrader, puts him a lap down. Now 18 cars remaining in the lead lap.
But during that time that Jeff was struggling to get around Schrader, the interval did not decrease between Burton and second place Tony Stewart. It's still right up there around 1 3/4 to 1.8 seconds.
Tony Stewart gets by Michael Walter. Nation's Rent Chevrolet.
We mentioned a few minutes ago, Benny, about Michael Waltrip and what he's going to do next year, and what a psychological boost that must be for Michael to know that he's going to go to that team next year, Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, he's very excited about it. And I don't know, there has not been an announcement made on who will drive the 7 car next year for Jimmy Smith.
You've heard all kind of rumors about it, but no announcement.
Going to run Fords, though. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. Here's the 94 and the 5, Bill Elliott and Terry Labonte. They're running for 15th here. Elliott has never won here at Martinsville. He's finished 3rd on a couple of occasions. Has 3 top 5s and 13 top 10s here at Martinsville. Currently running in 15th.
And here's the leader about to put a lap on his teammate, Mark Martin. Another driver that you didn't expect to see throw a lap down here at Martinsville.
And we talk about things that are happening in the latter part of the season. Jeff Burton, there's going to be an announcement Tuesday what his plans as far as sponsorship is concerned in 2001. I think most everyone realizes Exide is going away.
434 of 500 laps are completed. Jeff Burton leads the NAPA Autocare 500. Jeff Burton enjoys a 2.5-second lead over Tony Stewart here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. But the car we're watching is Bobby Labonte. He is in 12th right now, and up ahead are a couple of cars, and if he can get by them, and we have a spin as Elliott Sadler has spun here on the front stretch. He keeps going, no caution. Labonte was making a charge up to John Andretti, who's running in 11th position, and Steve Park is right ahead of Andretti, so Labonte can still pick up a couple of positions here in the next few laps. Since the restart, he was 18th. He's moved up to 12th.
He really does have a very good race car today. This is a position right directly in front of him. John Andretti on the spin by Elliott Sadler. The one car, Steve Park, was able to drive away about a half straightaway in front of these two cars. Park was right there with them, but he is able to jump out there on the spin by Elliott Sadler, put some distance between himself and Andretti and the 18 of Labonte.
Bobby's going to try this pass on the outside.
And Andretti will not fight him that hard. In fact, he backs off going into the corner, lets Bobby have the position.
Up to 11th.
You know, when Bobby Labonte was back in 25th or 26th, it looked like a miserable day. But all of a sudden, being up in the 11th spot, the sun is a lot brighter than it was about an hour ago.
Now you see Kevin LePage just ahead of Labonte, and then there's another lap car, and then Steve Park up there in that yellow Pennzoil Chevy, and that's the next position that Bobby can gain. And Terry Labonte goes a lap down, or is about to go a lap down, in 16th position.
Well, Jeff Burton is mowing them down.
He sure is.
Putting some awfully good race cars a lap down.
And in talking to Frank Stoddard this morning, he didn't seem to be overly pleased with his race car. He had a lot of concerns about how good it was going to be. Well, he shouldn't be too concerned now because it has been pretty doggone good.
And again, the interval has remained pretty consistent at 1.6 seconds now, as it has been around 1.6 to up as high as 2.9. There is Stewart running in second spot.
I think from here on to the end of the race, unless there's a caution flag, I think these cars, a lot of them are really going to be slipping and sliding.
Here's the battle for 6th on board with Dale Jarrett, as Jimmy Spencer is in a position that Dale would very much like to have.
Well, they've been battling for a long, long time. DJ got it beside him the last time coming off a 2, but couldn't get on into turn 3 deep enough. Now Spencer goes high again. But he gets to run off the corner. Whoops. Jimmy Spencer's got Robert Yates' engine, so when they go down that straightaway, there's not a whole lot of difference in those cars.
But Jarrett gets it finally and is in 6th now.
And Bobby Labonte has been able to catch the one car, Steve Park, and get by him and move into the 10th position.
Oh, Kyle has another flat tire. Let's see. He's already into the pits.
Well, he's going to make it
into the pits. That's Dale Earnhardt Jr. I saw coming down pit road.
He will make it into the pits, and unless there is debris for some reason on the racetrack, it will not cause a caution. None so far. Less than 50 laps to go here for Jeff Burton, who has scored the most points on short tracks in 2000. He's currently the leader here at Martinsville. Jeff Burton Burton continues to lead the NAPA Autocare 500. He's now led 194 laps. He has on his mind winning here today. That would be his 15th career win, but he also has on his mind the fact that his wife Kim is going to have a baby any day now.
Any hour now.
Yesterday, we had a heck of a race here at Martinsville, the NASCAR Featherlight Modified Series. Now, the Goodies Body Paint 200 was completed here yesterday, and if you missed it, you get a second chance. It'll be on ESPN2 Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time in the afternoon. It was good, wasn't it, BP?
It was very, very good. Yes, it was. Have a very tight championship battle in the NASCAR Featherlight Modified, but they did not race like they were running for points. They raced like they wanted to win the race here in Martinsville.
Dr. Jerry Punch anchors that telecast. Benny will be here in the booth, and Steve Park was along for some very fine expert commentary. So Tuesday at 1 Eastern for that event.
Bobby Labonte about to take over another position. There's that battle for second. Here he is about to take over ninth from Mike Skinner.
Wow.
He has been very, very impressive since he had that problem and fell back to about 25th, 26th.
Just when Jeff Burton and Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett thought they could make up some points and turn this thing into an even closer championship battle, Bobby Labonte comes back.
Been several races that they thought they had a shot to make up a lot on him, and he comes right back. And that's what it takes to win a championship. And they've done the right things. They've had some things go wrong way. We got a spin.
And turn one. Blaney is spun and caution is out.
Whoa. 35 laps to go. 35 laps to go, and Burton takes the caution. Well, Blaney has gotten the Amoco Ford back running again. Now it's going to be interesting to see who gets some good tires and who gets things right in the pits.
Yep, who makes those fast pit stops. That's going to be the key.
Well, this is how they are running at the moment, as we do have the caution and pit stops coming up. Labonte ninth. Everybody in the top 10 in the point standings are running in the top 10. Here they come. Down to John Kernan.
And Sterling Marlin is in. I think we might actually see a two-tire change with him. Also, Dale Jarrett is in. Sterling's crew getting the lug nuts a little slow in the left rear. He's down and away. A two-tire change. DJ's going to change 4 to Jerry Punch.
4 tires, no changes. Remember, the last 2 stops have been 14.8 and 15.6 for this Exide crew. This is a critical pit stop. 4 tires. Got to get him out in less than 17 seconds to be able to get off the pit road. I have to battle and use up his tires. Left side tires going on. He's down and away. Bill Weber.
Tony Stewart already has right side tires. They scramble to make an air pressure adjustment. Stewart will be second out behind the 40.
There goes Rudd out. Here comes Jarrett, Spencer. Next is going to be Labonte, and the Home Depot crew is happy with the pit stop they gave Tony Stewart.
And Jeff Gordon apparently only took on 2 tires.
So Sterling Marlin is going to be the leader of this race after that 2-tire stop. Stewart is going to be second, then Gordon, then Jeff Burton, then Earnhardt, Rudd, Jarrett, Spencer, and Labonte. Back in a moment. All right, we're just about a half a lap from the green, but take a look quickly at the field summary and where everybody is running. Labonte back is 9th now. Those are all the cars on the lead lap. Top 15. Joe Nemechek, the last car on the lead lap as we go back to racing. And the cars will get the green on lap 472. Marlin up front.
He has 2 right side tires. Tony Stewart has 4. Jeff Gordon right behind him has just 2 right side tires. So we'll see how all of that shakes out.
Boy, Tony Stewart is quickly on the attack, trying to get on the inside of Sterling Marlin. Looks like he's going to take that top spot away.
Marlin's car up the racetrack, and as a result, Tony was able to get to the inside. They go into turn number 1, side by side. Who will come out with the advantage? They still remain wheel to wheel all the way down the backstretch.
And Jeff Burton is on the outside of Jeff Gordon for the 3rd spot.
That becomes a side-by-side battle, and Dale Earnhardt is there in 3rd, but he doesn't have anybody down to the inside of him. All 5 cars stuck together right on the racetrack, and Tony Stewart now gets the advantage as they come off the 2nd corner and down the backstretch, and Stewart takes the lead.
Now Earnhardt's going to try to move up on the outside of Jeff Gordon.
Whoa. Tony got a bit of a tap there from Marlin through the corner.
And Jeff Burton is going to go to the outside and give the inside to Earnhardt. Is that going to happen?
Ooh.
Looks like it.
Yeah, because he thinks he can pass Sterling Marlin on the outside.
Oh, Sterling carries him up the hill, and then Earnhardt gets the position away from him.
As a matter of fact, Gordon might be able to pass Burton also. At least he moves alongside.
And boy, Tony Stewart is loving this. All of these cars back there battling, and he's out there in free air just pulling away.
Earnhardt, meanwhile, has moved to the runner-up position, 3 wide through this corner. You don't see that very often at Martinsville.
No. And they better back they did. Better get 2 abreast before they get in that corner.
Now Burton gets 3rd position from Marlin.
And Jeff Burton is quickly running out of time to get by Dale Earnhardt and catch Tony Stewart.
There are only 23 laps to go. Now Jeff Gordon tries to get the position away from Sterling Marlin. This is the 4th spot. And here comes Ricky Rudd.
And Bobby Labonte has fun coming off of turn 4. Let's see if there's going to be a caution. No caution yet. He didn't lose but a couple of positions. No caution.
Steve Park there is on the same lap, so he could lose a position there, but he does not. And so Labonte spins and still remains in 10th position.
And caution is out.
And we have Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car on fire down in turn number 1.
And there's a lot of damage to the front of that car. And he's knocked the fuel pump off, and that's the fire that we see.
This is the 13th caution of the afternoon. Now watch Bobby Labonte.
It's like Mike Skinner, car number 31 comes up, gives him a tap, and around he goes. He hits the gas. Wow. Everybody has to slow down. Skinner gets by him. Let's see. Well, those other cars were a lap down.
Yep.
So
Park there is the next one that could get a position, and he never did.
Wow.
That was impressive.
Yep.
Let's check this out from the Holman Lowe's onboard camera. What's the contact? Right there. Now check it out from our Circuit City onboard camera. And watch this spin cycle.
Boy, you hear him hit that gas and spin that thing on around.
That is impressive.
19 laps to go until the finish of the NAPA Autocare 500. Right now, it's Tony Stewart leading over Dale Earnhardt. Back with more in just a moment. An accident involving Dale Earnhardt Jr. has brought out our 13th caution of the afternoon. Dale Jr. is with Bill.
And you asked me if it looked hard. How did it feel?
That's pretty hard. I don't know if that's the hardest lick I've ever took, but the car in front of me or beside me turned right. He was obviously avoiding something of his own, a car next to him or something, because there had been a spin and we were all bottled up. And I had a left front tire sticking out there with no fender on it, and it just climbed all over the right rear of his car and launched the car in the air. And it just, you can't steer and turn left and right when the car's up in the air. So hit pretty hard. I hope it didn't hurt the car too bad, because it's a real good car. We ran real good this weekend in practice, and we've just had some luck, bad luck, and a lot of it we caused ourselves, but I think we got a good car. If we can get the right brakes.
You bent the wheel.
Yeah, the wheel's bent. There's a few other things bent too, but I'm all right.
Okay, he says he's okay, but he's out of the race. Closing laps here at Martinsville in the NAPA Autocare 500. Tony Stewart in the lead, but Earnhardt Jr.'s dad right behind him. Back to Martinsville in a minute.
Welcome back to our live coverage of the NAPA Autocare 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. The NAPA field summary shows you that the 15 cars that are on the lead lap. Bobby Labonte now back in the 10th position. Mike Skinner did gain 1 due to that spin that Bobby had down in turn number 4. Now here's the rest of the field, 16 through 30.
Only 5 cars 1 lap down. 21st to just 4 cars 2 laps down, 4 cars 3 laps down. Mike Bliss in a lap of his own.
There's the balance of the field. All of those have had major problems. Kyle Petty had 2 flat tires at different times.
We'll be back for the green flag in just a moment here in Martinsville. David Duval now has the lead in the PGA Buick Challenge, which is coming up at the conclusion of our race at 5 Eastern Time. Pennzoil Copter Cam showing you the 2x2 formation as we get set to go back to racing at Martinsville. We will have 11 laps to go when they get the green.
From when we showed you that rundown a moment ago, a couple of adjustments have been made. Jeff Gordon has been put back in front of Ricky Rudd and Sterling Marlin back in front of Dale Jarrett. Both of those passes were made as they were coming around to get the caution, but NASCAR realigned them, put them back where they were.
Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, Sterling Marlin.
Well, I'll tell you, some of these drivers would like to see it going forward a couple more laps. Some wild restarts. They're having to pass a lot of lap cars here now. Of course, these cars up front, they got around there okay. You see the 4th place car there in line. Ted Musgrave, he is a lap down.
Well, you always wonder what can happen in the late stages of the race when Dale Earnhardt has the possibility of winning. But boy, Tony Stewart is separating himself rather nicely here. But just 9 more laps to go.
Earnhardt's trying as hard as he possibly can to get that Goodrich Chevrolet up there to the 20 car.
Dale Earnhardt has finished 1st or 2nd in 4 of the last 6 NAPA 500s. Here is Ricky Rudd to the inside of Jeff Gordon for 4th position.
Now remember, since they made those pit stops, Jeff Gordon only took on 2 right side tires, where Rudd has 4. That's going to work to Rudd's advantage. Those left side tires had well over 100 laps on them, so those that just put on 2 tires have paid for it. Sterling Marlin is one of those. DJ trying to get by him now.
There's a good battle for that position.
That's 6th spot. Looks like DJ is going to take it. Meanwhile, here comes Jimmy Spencer trying to close up, get behind DJ. Petty's slow and going into pit road. The Sprint Chevrolet, just a 6 lap, 5 laps in the end.
Kyle ran good for a long time today, but had those flat tires really cost him.
There's 2nd and 3rd, Earnhardt and Jeff Burton, who will get credit for leading the most laps here this afternoon. He led 202. Now Jimmy Spencer and Marlin
trying to take over the 7th position. Spencer is.
And we're on board with Mike Skinner, who is also in the thick of this battle. He's running 9th. And right behind this group is Labonte, who is 10th.
Oh, and Sterling Marlin looked like he got in the fence as he came off turn 4. But he's hanging in there tough, trying to. But meanwhile, then we see it in the back of Earnhardt.
little tap there.
With 2 laps to go, contact between Earnhardt and Jeff Burton for the second position, and Tony Stewart would like to see a little bit more of that. And here comes Tony Stewart down to take the white flag. 1 more lap to go. Remember, he won the race last weekend at Dover. After starting in 27th position, he started on the pole here this afternoon, and it doesn't appear as if he's going to get a challenge on this last lap. He's now in turns 3 and 4, and winning his second consecutive race of 2000 is Tony Stewart. His 5th win of this year. That's more than any other driver. Now we'll watch for the finishing positions as they come down. It's going to be Bobby Labonte finishing in the 10th position, and the rest of the drivers on the lead lap. Bill Weber.
And Greg Zipadelli in the middle of it. Down here, a big celebration. Tony Stewart wins from the pole. He surprised himself on Friday when he won the pole. Then you guys scrambled. You stayed out when nearly the entire field pitted. But you told him to remain calm. It was a long race, and it all paid off.
We had a great race car. We had one yesterday in the happy hour. It was really, really good on the long runs. And we gave up a little bit of track position there, but the caution fell when we needed it there, and pit stops were awesome all day long. Just kept whittling away. Tony kept cool. We had a long talk, and before we came here this weekend, and we were going to take a different approach of how to drive the racetrack and how we were going to work on things, and it did a good job. And there's some people looking over us. I guess their team's come a long way to come to Martinsville and run this good.
The talk paid off. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Tony Stewart and company win here at Martinsville. They're headed for victory lane.
It's his 8th career victory, his 2nd short track win in his 62nd NASCAR Winston Cup event. It's the first race that he has won, one starting from the pole position. Tony Stewart rolls into victory lane in the NAPA Autocare 500.
3 days only.
Tony Stewart emerges from his car as the 36th driver to win a race at the famed Martinsville Speedway. Here's Jerry Punch.
Tony climbs out of the car and gets a big hug and a big bottle of Gatorade, and we'll put that Home Depot hat on. And Tony, outstanding effort, but it looked like with 34 laps to go, Jeff Burton was going to cruise, and suddenly the whole race changed when the caution came out.
Yeah, we started running him down there before the caution, but, you know, I think lap traffic was hurting him a little bit, and we just owe it to the guys. I mean, they got us out of the pits second there behind the 40 car, and he took 2 tires, we took 4, and they made some adjustments, and it was a lot better at the beginning of the run. And, man, I tell you what, to hold off Dale Earnhardt at Martinsville at the end and Jeff Burton, I tell you what, I just, that's unbelievable.
What goes through your mind with 11 laps to go? You look in the mirror and you know that Earnhardt's behind you, Burton's behind him, and the green flag's coming out. And you know how Earnhardt wants these.
I'm trying to think of the worst thing I can think of that I would want to compare it to, but that's the last guy you want to see behind you at Martinsville with 11 to go, I can tell you that.
Unbelievable year. Back-to-back wins. Now Dover, now Martinsville. 5th win of the season. Winningest driver in NASCAR Winston Cup this year.
It's just due to a great team. I mean, you know, everybody in this Home Depot team and everybody on Bobby Labonte's Interstate Batteries team. It's just, it's definitely a team effort. Both teams help each other, and, you know, I couldn't do it without Bobby, and I couldn't do it without all these Home Depot guys behind me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, the man they call the Rushville Rocket today is the Martinsville Missile. Let's check in with his teammate, Bill Weber.
And Bobby Labonte's here talking over with his crew. A 10th place finish, Bobby, on certainly a hectic day, but some spectacular driving down the stretch by you.
Well, I don't know about spectacular, but, well, maybe it was spectacular. I don't know. But, no, it's a good day. I mean, we had a good car for the most part. You know, I don't think many cars passed us. I think the 4 car is probably the only one that really, you know, passed us as far as going straight by us. So it was a good day. You know, we've ended up 10th, which, you know, hey, like average finish here is probably like 15th or worse. So it could have been a lot worse. You know, we had everything went good. You know, we did have some problems, and got spun around there, and had some damage on pit road, just tight pit road.
What happened on pit road, Bobby?
They all stopped, and I didn't. It's one of those chain reaction deals. Just didn't get stopped in time. But all these guys in the crew, they did a good job. I mean, come out of Martinsville 10th, like what happened today, I guess it could have been a lot worse.
Well, congratulations on a great run. We'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, 2:13 unofficially, the point margin between first place Bobby Labonte and Dale Earnhardt, who's with John.
Well, Dale, second place. I know you would have liked to have won, but you did close the gap just a little bit on Bobby Labonte in the chase for the championship.
Well, points is points, and I was trying awful hard to get to him, but I didn't have enough. And Burton was chomping at me on the corners and the centers. I was a little tight in the center and slow in the center, so it was a good race, really. We was real fortunate to get back by them guys there at the end and get back to second. And on that restart, we just went after them and got a couple called slow cars. But the car was okay. It was in pretty good shape. It just about a fourth, fifth place car. It was just a little tight center, wasn't good through the center, and as good as we needed, it wasn't as good as it was here in the spring. But still, ended up second. And like to win the race today, got second ain't bad, but still just a little bit on them points. That's working on them points.
This is the kind of racing that you enjoy, isn't it? This close quarter stuff.
Yeah, it was fun, and it was close, and a lot of guys looked like they was having a lot of troubles that didn't need to be, but a lot of inexperience out there, and as we go, they'll get better. But it is a close quarters racetrack. A lot of fun racing here. Good wrench, and all the guys did a great job today. Come on second.
I tell you what, it was a fun race to watch, too, from a fan's point of view, Bob. At least down here in the pits it was.
It was a great race, and nice job by Tony Stewart and everybody here this afternoon. Let's take a look at the points. Jeff Burton moved up to third of the points. Dale Jarrett down to fourth. Jeff Gordon moved up to ninth, dropping Ward Burton back to the 10th position. The separation is 213. Still, Bobby Labonte can win the championship if he finishes sixth or better in the remaining races. However, don't count this thing over by any means, because coming up in a couple of weeks is Talladega, and you know what can happen there. We will be there for the Winston 500 in a couple of weeks. Well, the NAPA Autocare 500 is over. We'll be back with more in just a moment. ESPN's coverage of the NAPA Autocare 500 from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia being brought to you by Daytona USA, the official attraction of NASCAR. By the White Track Pontiac Grand Prix, proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team. And by NASCAR Heat for PC and the PlayStation game console, the only game that brings the heat home. Tony Stewart wins here at Martinsville. Dale Earnhardt finished second. Third place finishers with John Kernan.
And that is Jeff Burton, who had a dominant car today and led the most laps, so you got 10 extra bonus points, moved up, closed the gap on Bobby, but just not enough to get around Earnhardt there at the end to pick up second.
No, we had a great car today. Guys did a good job in the pits. We got beat out of the pits for a couple reasons. The main reason was the 24 took on two. He pulled out, so I had to slow down, and that cost us a lot of time on pit road, and it just hurt us getting off pit road, hurt our track position. Then I got by him, and I got on the outside of the 40. And we got together in the middle of the corner, and I got way up into all the stuff, and Earnhardt got by me, and that was the race.
Jeff Burton, though, comes home with a third place finish today and does close the gap to 227.
Ricky Rudd finished in fourth position. Jeff Gordon drove to fifth. Dale Jarrett from 31st starting position up to sixth. Spencer, Skinner, Marlin, and Bobby Labonte completed the top 10.
See Park, Nadeau, Andretti, Nemechek, and Elliott the top 15. All those cars on the lead lap.
And you had 5 cars that were 1 lap down: Schrader, Labonte, Mark Martin, Johnny Vincent, and Ricky Craven. Then some more 2 laps down. Rusty Wallace was one of those, back in 23rd place.
Wallace started on the outside of the front row, but struggled to a 23rd place finish. Here's 31 through 43 now. Kyle Petty dropped out of the race. So did Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a crash. Mayfield was out, and in fact, Wally Dallenbach, Brett Bodine, Hunt Strickland, and Ward Burton also failed to finish the race. Take a look at the points once again. Dale Earnhardt trails by 213, Jeff Burton by 227, and Dale Jarrett 251. Still a very tight battle among 4 drivers for the 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship, with Tony Stewart now with 5 victories this season, finish right now in 5th position in the point standings. Well, we mentioned Talladega. It's coming up on the 13th with Bud Pole qualifying Friday at 4 o'clock Eastern. Happy hour for that race will be on Saturday afternoon at 4:30 on ESPN2. Then on race day, Sunday, October 15th, it's RPM today at noon. NASCAR today with Bill Weber at 12:30. And the Winston 500 presented by UPS at 1 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday, October 15th here on ESPN. A wrap-up of the day's activity on RPM tonight at 9 o'clock that evening. Well, coming up next, PGA Buick Challenge, a good battle going on for that championship too. Stay tuned for all of the action. Once again, Tony Stewart wins here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. It's been a great afternoon. Thanks for joining us very, very much. 43 drivers started this race with the hope that they could drive to victory lane. But it didn't take long before the spinning began. There were a total of 13 caution laps in this event for 88 laps. Once again, the activity on pit road was very, very busy, with some bringing out the sheet metal and a lot of hot car crashes. The average speed of the race was 73.857 miles an hour. Jeff Burton led the most laps, 202. Tony Stewart, the winner of the race, led 179. Thanks for joining us here at Martinsville. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.